And good evening and welcome to Digital Fiasco Live. My name is Dandr0id.
And I am Jack McBastard.
And, yeah.
Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day, everyone. I sound ecstatic right now because I'm going to be working after this. So I'm back to being tired, everyone. Pray for me.
I will pray to you, to my invisible God in the sky. You know, fun fact, I was just reading up. I was watching I think it was John Oliver. He's talking about how very little it actually takes to register an actual church.
Okay.
And get it declared like as a tax-free entity.
Yeah, yeah.
And realistically, it does not take a great deal. Oh, Jack facts, yes. Just a little jacked for you. It would take us very little to get registered as a church, as a nonprofit, and you know, be able to claim tax exemption and start to be corrupt and ask for donations from people.
That sounds like maybe it's the way to go.
I'm thinking, right? Because if you think about it, right, I have very, very strongly held beliefs that can't be proven or challenged. They're just articles of faith, you know, and it wouldn't take much for me to codify them in a way that could be pseudo-religious. I realize this is a weird way to start the show today, but
I totally agree with it because my religious beliefs include not paying taxes. So that's
well, that can be one of our tenets,
there we go.
Actually, because we don't believe in supporting a organism that we cannot see or, you know.
There we go.
I don't know. But no, I was thinking about it. You know, you codify a religion, right? You got all the various mythologies, like, you know, Christian mythology. Yeah, that's right. I said it. or the various mythologies, right? Doesn't matter. You have a religion that incorporates science, but it's science at its most basic. I believe that the universe has a structure, right?
Yep.
And everything is structures upon structures. There is an order to the universe, and only because we are too insignificant to perceive the order of the universe can we not maybe make sense of it, but the order is there, and it's been demonstrated time and again. So maybe there is a way to say, you know, this happens for a reason.
But isn't that demonstratable, which kind of nullifies the...
Well, I mean, but the point is, right, as you go further and further out, as your structures get bigger and your levels get larger, they become impossible to grasp, right? Can you grasp infinity except as a concept?
I can if it's infinity plus one.
Yeah. I mean, I know that infinity's so big that it takes me a long fucking time to go anywhere in No Man's Sky.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of goddamn jumps.
That helps you understand just how vast the universe is.
The universe is a structure, and maybe there isn't a being, but maybe that is it. Maybe the God is the structure of the universe. And that's a simple enough, codifiable religious belief. And then you just start to build your followers and your cult. I mean, sorry, did I say cult? I meant religion on top of that.
Let's go with it. I like it. Janice Marino will be the first one to sign up.
I will call it structuralism, and those that believe in them will be structuralists.
I think that's structurists or structuralists.
Structuralists.
Yeah,
I think that's vague enough.
Janice is confused as to what he's watching.
What are you watching? You're watching the L. Ron Hubbard-ish birth of a religion that I firmly believe in. And thus will I will have to I can have like a church, a peerage that will be tax free. I will have no taxes on my own income and on any donations and whatnot. I will have regular meetings that have a belief system.
Do they happen on Sunday morning?
No, not necessarily.
Okay,
right?
Good, because I'm not going to go to them.
Theoretically, they could happen on Monday night, and realistically, right? You think about churches, think about televangelism. We congregate here on Monday nights. It could be fiascoism, I mean, for all we care.
That sounds like a cult.
Yes. See, that's a little too on the nose, I think. I think maybe Canada Revenue might have something to say about that.
Tell us to save the Bizarro sex cult talk for Comic Sans.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could have a sex cult too, but I mean, Allison Mack's already in a cult, so pretty sure she's limited to just one cult. Anyway, so what are you playing?
Oh, good.
That has nothing to do with
cults.
Starting a religion.
No, as I...
Stop using the word cult. We have to rebrand that.
Right,
belief.
Yes.
It is a belief.
Yes.
It is an
followers.
Axiom.
Correct. No, as I talked about last week, I got really excited when I saw that they had a release trailer for The Surge 2.
Oh, yes.
And since I had The Surge from PS Plus and I had never played it and they give you all the DLC content with it,
broke down.
I said I've got to actually get in and play that. So sure enough, I got in and I fucking played that.
Did you die a lot right away?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like I was amazed just because this ended up being like the type of game that I would have made personally. Because, you know me, like I love tech, I love future, like sci-fi, like all that kind of stuff, lasers and, you know, like weapons and robots and all that stuff. So this is literally Dark Souls sci-fi.
It very much is, right? Except for the limb system.
With a hint of Dead Space.
Right.
That's what I was going to add after. Because, there's certain guys that you want to acquire their tech or whatever, so you have to go and slice their arm off or their leg off or their head or whatever, depending on like which armor they're wearing or what weapon they're holding and stuff. So it was sci-fi Dark Souls with a hint of Dead Space, and I'm like, I can totally get down with this. It even has some of those sequences where you go into like dark areas where you need like the flashlights on your suit to actually see in the dark and everything. Yeah. So there was some of that kind of like scary bits to it.
Okay, you got further than I did then, obviously.
But yeah, overall, I mean, it's been a ton of fun to play because it reminds me so much of Souls game.
Yep.
It's not as tight of a like gameplay, but it's more or less there. You can tell that it's definite inspiration from it.
Who even made the game? Off the top of my head, I can't think of it.
That's a good question.
I don't even remember whoever it is doesn't have the pedigree for that kind of game. So they did really well.
Yeah, and that was kind of the thing about that game is it really came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so shocking to me because I was like, oh, this looks really...
Is that a Tecmo one?
I want to say it's Tecmo. I'm just looking at the wiki here.
That doesn't seem right. But yeah, I mean, like, you think about the Souls style games, right? From Software's been doing it since the 1990s, right? Basically. Under various names.
And that's the whole thing is, like, you can tell it's so heavily inspired by the Souls series.
Right.
It's just, the gameplay, the attacking, the animations and stuff, it isn't as tight as a Souls game.
Sure.
But overall, I mean, they've knocked out, 4 or 5 of those games now, kind of in the Souls series.
3 Dark Souls, 1 Demon Souls, and then
Bloodborne.
Yeah. And then technically Kingsfield, Eternal Ring, all those other ones as well.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as like modern age third-person games go, that's basically it.
Yeah, Kingsfield was all first person. So
yeah, which was amazing because it was on PlayStation, like PlayStation 1.
Yeah, Kingsfield 1 and 2 was on PS1. I think Kingsfield 3 was PS2. That was the Ancient City, I want to say.
I didn't even know they had a second one. I hear you talk about the first one all the time.
Kingsfield 2 was amazing, but stupid hard. Like, especially those ones. Like at that time, I remember when I first played it, it was at a demo at the store, right? And of course, we didn't have a memory card or anything.
Yeah.
So it was like instant death. And there was no corpse run. You're just dead.
Yeah.
Start again.
Okay, so yeah, that's right. Now I remember. Now I see that the logo is here. Deck 13 Interactive.
Deck 13,
which I think was a splinter of some other developers or something like that. So
I'm not familiar with that off the top of my head.
But anyways, it was it's been an amazing experience so far. Like I've gotten to kind of like the second, like it's like a hub and spoke kind of situation. Like you have your starting area, and then there's like a broken down like subway train kind of thing that you take like to like the next area to the next area. So I'm in the second area of that, and it's one of the main things that remind me so much of Souls outside of it just being difficult. Like you're doing the kind of one-on-one combat, and even like one of the normal minions, if you're not paying attention, he will take you down.
Wow. Okay, I'm really glad that I did not look at Deck 13's pedigree before I bought the Surge, because the Surge is good, but I totally would have given it a pass.
Yeah.
Well,
what did they do before?
Well, Lords of the Fallen, for one. That wasn't great.
Oh, okay. I can see that kind of where that came from, though, because that was the third-person slasher, like World of Warcraft kind of one.
Do you remember Venetica?
No.
No, nobody does. I know that it wasn't good. Blood Knights from 2013 looks like something that Dennis Dyack would make.
Oh, they had to cut their teeth on something.
Wow, it's so bad that half of these games don't even have graphics in the image.
It just has a title and...
Yes, it's not great.
Okay, well, they found victory in the Surge.
The Surge is good.
Yeah.
So good job, Deck 13, but yikes. I'm glad I played the game first.
So what I was saying was... it not only reminds you of the Soul series in, its difficulty, its one-on-one combat and stuff like that, but it's about that you get that kind of when you're fighting through, you're killing all these guys and stuff like that. You're like, okay, I'm finally getting the hang of this. I know how these guys attack. I know kind of where they're planted, because every time you go back to the med bay, they reset. It's just like a campfire in the Souls games. So you really, really get the hang of that. And then you're like, yes, I'm fucking badass. I'm like killing everything left, right, and center. Nothing can stand in my way.
Yep.
And you go to the second one, and I've gotten my ass handed to me for like 3 hours straight now. So I'm like, oh, okay. So just got blasted back down that fucking ladder.
There's a med bay? Do they have medical thermite?
No, they do not have medical thermite. But the whole thing is just like the campfire in the Soul series, the med bay is where you return. It's like a little tiny room with like a medical chair and like a like recycler machine where you can like upgrade and buy parts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the med bay will allow you to change all of your implants and your suit parts and stuff like that. And then the machine thing will allow you to like build new schematics or upgrade your weapons and your robot pieces and stuff like that. So it's kind of a multi-use area, but it's like there's only one per area and that's it. And so you always have to, you venture out and you find locked doorways and locked elevators and broken down, like little lifts and stuff like that. And it's about going the most horrible way you can think of through all of these things just to unlock one of those, and then that's your one scraping that you get back, and then you can get that little shortcut that one time, and then you carry on from there until you slowly unlock the whole area, and then you have the passageways to go basically wherever you want.
That's Souls in Kingsfield, basically, in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just praying you hold out long enough, and you unlock the latch in the door and die instantly, so they can just walk through the door and get your corpse.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Yep. And again, very... obviously Souls inspired, because when you die in that, you have your body sits there with all of your tech scrap that you've earned, and you have to go pick it up. The one trick that they have in this one compared to the Souls series is it has a timer on it. So basically, as soon as you die and all your tech scrap is sitting on your corpse, you start up again in the med bay. You still have your weapons and your robot pieces, but all of your scrap, which is your currency basically, is sitting there out in the middle of nowhere. And it'll be like, okay, as soon as you leave this med bay, you have 2.5 minutes to get that scrap back, no matter where it is. Yeah, so don't fuck yourself over with that.
Yeah, that's also kind of reminiscent of like the old style Ark corpse runs as well, which were worse because you had no real indicator on your map where they are.
See,
it's just a bag on the ground.
And you know what? That is the one part that is the real kick in the balls. Either that or I just have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
There's no map in this game.
No mini map or no map at all?
No mini map.
There's a map you could...
I'm very, very... The only thing that I've seen is those real, like, in-world maps where sometimes it'll have, like, a couple splotches of rooms and stuff and, like, a little colored path. And it'll have little tiny arrows that says, you're here.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's no, like, big interactive map. Not that I've seen anyways. I haven't really dug deep into a lot of the menus and stuff like that. But from what I've seen, I don't think there's a map. And I think that's part of the challenge of it, is basically you have to try to memorize your way around and whatnot.
That would be brutal,
Because it is especially in the second zone that I'm in, it is just this giant, half-lit, deadly factory full of, zombie robots and, like, giant, like, three-legged, like, walker robots and stuff like that. And it is,
You got to make sure you wear your PPE, though. That's important. Got a Jack fact in the chat. Most starships don't actually have a deck 13. Au contraire. My starship be just all deck 13.
It's like I have 64 deck 13s.
And it'd be very confusing in an emergency, let me tell you. But boarders would never make it to the bridge. What deck are we on? Deck 13. Well, that's not fucking right.
Sounds like a Laurel and Hardy sketch or something. And Mamekill, welcome to the chat. Yeah, and I guarantee someone's mapped it out online. I'm sure I could go look at a map of everything.
It still makes it hard.
Part of the Souls series and part of the Souls like type of games is exploring. Like part of the whole fun in that is turning that corner and getting slammed in the face with the biggest weapon in the game. You're like, oh, well, I fucked up. So
yeah, I mean, I've long been a proponent of that design where there's not an artificial line where, oh, you're now in an area you shouldn't be. Here's the invisible wall.
Yeah.
I like the games that go, oh, you're in an area you shouldn't be?
Yeah.
Well, let's teach you.
Yeah, let's teach you to never come back here again. And I learned that so many times. About the only issue I take with it is that I think I think they had a little too much fun with their surprise attacks and monster closets.
Oh, really?
Because of course they have them in the Souls series. It happens all the time. Like you'll see a target ahead of you, or like, you know, a tasty bit of something at the end of a bridge, but then there will be a column or something out of the way and there's one guy hiding behind there, or you go down and you get that item and as soon as you start coming back, Resident Evil style, the thing just comes tromping out of the nowhere and like, you know, yeah, basically like that. And then you're fucked. So they do that a lot in the Surge, but to be fair, the second time you get near that area, you know exactly where that fucker is, so you can take him down. So.
Yeah. I really wish that in Dead Space, for example, that was really, it worked that way, but I don't know what those fuckers put in that game, but the jump scares are not always in the same place. It's kind of like a Payday, but for evil.
Yeah, so they had a little more fun with that, whereas this one is like, no, they are in the exact same place every single time, so... it's kind of nice that you know that they're there. So if you need particular parts from that guy's weapon or something like that, you can always harvest him because he's always there.
That's how farming's supposed to work, right? You know, especially in a game like that, you don't need any added difficulty.
And I guess just kind of a final note on it, outside of just I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I love the design of everything. Is I like that. Just like the Soul series, it kind of lets you play the way you want to, where they have a bunch of different types of armor sets, which are your kind of bolt-on exoskeleton stuff.
Gotcha.
So it either gives you extra energy or makes you faster or you do better attack or something like that. And you can mix and match, or if you wear an entire suit of one type, it gives you a bonus to that one thing that it does.
Sure.
And then you have everything from... you know, dual blades, like quick little, like you're almost like punching the guy to death with blades, up to the giant like Titan hammer things where you're like slamming them into the ground in like 2 hits and they're just getting like crushed under the weight. So they have that whole span of different weaponry.
Yeah, I generally tend to fall somewhere in the middle of that. I like a little bit of speed, but
and that's kind of how I started the game. I started with the Link suit, which gives you a boost to speed, and one of my first weapons that I found was a chainsword, like a la Warhammer, and it's been one of my favorite ever since.
Well, you gotta have the chainsword when Matthias's bolter is jammed. All right.
Yeah. So, if you haven't played the Surge, because the Surge 2 is coming out, go fucking play it. It is awesome, and it has a bunch of DLC, and like they always sell it as the complete package.
Yeah. So. If you like Souls games or sci-fi, or you know, if you like crippling difficulty, go play the Surge.
I mean, if you like Souls, you like crippling difficulty. That there's
kind of goes without saying.
Those go hand in hand.
This is true. All right. So
what have you been playing?
Over my long weekend, I was firmly expecting to be playing Dragon Quest. I did not get my copy of Dragon Quest.
That's unfortunate.
So my Dragon Quest does not begin until tomorrow.
Still in the tavern.
So I was caught between the end of my sort of self-imposed gameplay period for No Man's Sky. I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve. I wanted to put that aside for now. I wanted to play Dragon Quest. So I'd already prepared myself. That didn't happen. So come Friday and Saturday, it's like, what the fuck do? I don't want to start something big because I'm just going to put it down come Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
So I started going through my backlog list, and I had Darksiders 2, the definitive edition.
Oh, yes.
Right, and I remember we talked about this a few months back when you had played War Master and you played Darksiders 2.
Mm-hmm. I played them back to back because I wanted that kind of experience of enjoying them in the same vein.
And I remember bringing this up to you specifically about the grind for the end game of Darksiders 2 for the Platinum. Mm-hmm. And I seem to recall something along the lines of, you said, it wasn't so bad, but I don't think it was in the context of getting the Platinum, because that game is still a goddamn grind.
Because that's the whole thing is, again, you know me, I don't platinum games
Jesus fuck
like at all except for one game. So
there are like 4 different kinds of collectibles, and fast travel is super inconvenient, and it's like a Soul Reaver kind of game where it's Metroidvania platforming action.
Well, because you always unlock different weapons, different abilities that allow you to get to that next ledge or that new area, unlock that one door that's way the fuck back in the start of the game.
And then there's a bunch of optional dungeons that you don't even have to go into that have all these additional collectibles in them. And a bunch of inconvenient, flip this switch to activate that, like you're back in Resident Evil fucking police station.
It's very Resident Evil, God of War, like it's just flip that one switch to do something way across the fucking level.
Now granted, I really like Darksiders construction and the way its puzzles work. I really like that a lot, but not from the perspective when I have to do it again and again, going into these areas over and over again to get all these collectibles.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to go down one list and get them all, and then there's a completely other list for this and this and this. And some of these lists are interdependent. Like there's one where you have to get all of these collectibles to open a door where there are additional collectibles, and it's like, oh, motherfucker.
Yeah, because they had some cool like ideas for puzzles and
very much.
And game mechanics like that. Like I love the
Correct.
the like kinetic. They had like that ball rolling one where you had to like put in the different pivots and you could turn it into a golem and everything like that to attack with, and that was really cool. Like I love that whole aspect there.
A couple of the ones where you had the soul splitting capability where you could stand on multiple.
Yeah, you had like your purple and teal version of yourself, and it was hitting switches at different times,
and it was like the added problem because you would split your soul, and then you had a statue, like a gargoyle statue that stayed wherever you split it. So half of the puzzles related to the splitting involved somehow getting that gargoyle, like your Reaper statue, onto something mobile or in a position where it could drop or fall or be propelled.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you couldn't physically push it or move it or anything. So, I mean, there were a lot of puzzles where it was like, oh my God, this is driving me. And then it was like, oh, okay. So nothing really bogged me down. So I got through the game and I finished the game. I'm like, wow, that was really enjoyable. And I started looking at the collectibles I hadn't gotten. And it's like,
and you're like, no, it's not enjoyable anymore.
No. So, okay, so I've gone through all my collectibles list. I've gotten all of my collectibles. Now I have to play the whole game again on New Game Plus on Definitive, which is like the ultra nightmare, above nightmare difficulty. So, I mean, it's just going to be time consuming and, you know, a little bit of challenge. Fine. Then I have to go into the Crucible and do 100 levels of the Crucible, which is just basically horde fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
If I'm not mistaken, I think you have to do all 100 in one sitting for one of the trophies.
Yikes. No thanks.
I mean, it doesn't take a long time to do each level, but you're doing 100 of them.
Yeah. It's too much.
I could have been playing Dragon Quest. And, you know, and just...
and actually been enjoying your time with gaming.
You know, slimes and everything, man. Fuck. my stupid gaffy sticks. Everyone remembers that.
Yeah,
anyway, so yeah.
So did you platinum it, or did you say fuck it?
No, I'm still going through it. I do not think I will be done by tomorrow, and I don't know when I'll go back to it. I was really looking forward to finishing off Darksiders. My plan was I was going to do Darksiders.
Yeah.
I was going to start my New Game Plus of Yakuza 0.
Oh,
so I could like, at least enjoy a New Game Plus. Mm-hmm. And I did not get anywhere near. I'm like halfway, maybe a third of the way through.
It's a large game. It really is.
It is not small.
It feels it feels almost open world for like a PS3 game. So.
Right. But at least now I don't have to go back and do all the side quests and crap. It's just all straight line, you know, critical path nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So enough of that. This is, if you haven't already figured it out, this is Digital Fiasco Live, episode 38. We're going to talk about all the latest news in PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and PC gaming.
And if you did figure it out, good for you.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's right there at the bottom of the screen. What the hell do you think you're doing here if you're not here for us? Anyway, so what do we have coming out this week in the Triple D?
All right.
Which is, of course, Digital DLC.
All right, quit being a dick. Hey, this week on Triple D,
Dick is not the second D.
The one of the bigger ones that's coming out this week, of course. We talked about. Did we talk about last week what PS Plus was this week?
Oh yeah, I got the list.
Okay, all right. So
actually, no, we didn't do it last week.
We didn't do it last week. So one of the big ones that's coming out this week for PS Plus is Destiny 2.
Yep.
So most people are like, "Holy shit, I'm getting, you know, a $70 game for free."
Right.
Well, that's with a hook because they want to get people hooked on it so they can charge them for the brand new DLC that's coming out for Destiny 2 called Forsaken.
Correct.
And this is the one when I think all the shit hits the fan and people start dying, and there's a whole reason to actually play into it. It isn't just a couple monster arenas or whatever.
I think there's been a couple of... I mean, Maimkill might know better than I would, but I think there's been a couple of plot DLCs before now.
I think, yeah, as far as it goes, like there's been, I think, 2 so far. And they haven't, I don't think they've been well received per se, but still, I mean, they still have, I think 1 million plus people playing this game, and they're giving it away for free. So they are going to get a whole shitload more people playing it.
Oh, it's not.
And Forsaken seems to be one that people are actually excited about, just because it does seem to be a bit of a game changer.
Okay, Maimkill, for some reason I thought played it, but apparently he hasn't. I know Tron is a huge Destiny guy.
And of course Commander Santa, being a huge Destiny fan. But yeah, so Destiny 2 is free with PS Plus, so that's really cool that's. So
the Destiny 2 DLC is called Forsaken.
Forsaken,
yes. Poor Cade.
Yeah, poor Cade.
Justice for Cade. Hashtag.
Okay, yeah, so that's a pretty big one coming out this week, so kind of in conjunction with it being free on PS Plus. I don't know if Xbox users are getting it for free also. It would almost make sense for them to get it too, just,
they are
not. And of course, the other one that we were talking about, the one that you were very sour that you didn't get on the weekend, that is, of course, Dragon Quest 11.
Yes.
Echoes of an Elusive Age.
Correct.
I think the titles keep getting longer every time these games come out.
They do. Well, there's the Journey of the Cursed King was 7, I think.
Yeah.
It was the PS2 one. That was a good one.
But yeah, I've seen this one in action.
Hashtag justice for Karen. Fuck Karen. Fuck sad Karen.
When I went to Anime Expo and I was waiting in line to play Kingdom Hearts 3,
right.
They had the booth for this one right next to it, and I was watching people play it, and
awesome.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
I absolutely want to try this one.
Yep.
Let's see here. And of course, the big one that no one is, surprised about, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is finally coming out on Tuesday.
That one's on Friday.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, sorry.
The 7th.
No, that was, I thought I had all my Tuesday ones up here.
The other Tuesday one is the second Zone of the Enders.
Yes, the VR version.
What do you think about that?
I kind of dig it, but I also like the Zone of the Ender games. Like, I love the style of them.
The second one was apparently much better.
Yes, it very much was. It just had more character. There was just more going on. The first one, I almost felt like an experiment in a game that he wanted to make, and then the second one was the game he wanted to make.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it was an accident that the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo was attached to that game.
Yeah, so. Exactly. But no, definitely looking forward to that one, even if it is in VR. Because, I really like those games, and who doesn't want to pilot a flying robot in VR?
That's true.
So,
Jehuti.
Jehuti.
Is it the same is it the same mech each time? Or?
Yeah, I think it's slightly updated, but it's the same one. It's got like the boner cockpit and everything, and because it's Kojima and he likes to be weird about things.
Bit of a dick scoop.
Well, I mean, when he flew, that thing went full erect, and so you could see where you were flying. So.
I mean, granted, it's not exactly Suda 51, but I mean,
no, because that would have looked much more phallic. I think if it was Suda 51,
he would have actually been jacking off his big boner.
He would have had a giant laser cannon fold out of it or something.
So that's on the 7th.
Yeah, and and then what else you got there?
Basketball, man.
Fuck basketball.
No, I'm serious. Basketball, NBA Live 19 and 2K19 both are coming out on Friday as well. So both EA and 2K's basketball.
It's kind of interesting for those ones, just how you only have basically the 2 basketball games, so they just go head to head. They're like, we're both coming out. Buy your favorite one.
Well, it's like hockey, right? It's in season. You get.
But the whole thing the whole trick with hockey though is you only have EA behind the helm. With basketball, you still have a couple different companies that are allowed to work with the NBA license.
It was a long time. Like NBA Live didn't have a live game for like a couple of years there for a while because they were just terrible. Yeah. So I don't know how NBA Live is now. I'm assuming better because they actually released the game.
I'm sure they've retooled what they've been doing. So
2K has been killing the sport for a long time. So.
Yeah, I mean they've been around since at least 2000. So.
NBA Jam. I mean, that would be cool.
We got a NBA Jam remaster last year, I believe. Yeah, because it was the 25th or 30th anniversary of it, or so, like something weird like that. It was one of those anniversary ones. So they had a remaster of like the classic like arcade Super Nintendo Sega Genesis one with the big heads, the weird characters, he's on fire, like all that stuff. So
boom shakalaka.
Yeah, so that one is out. So I mean, you can go on PSN, Xbox Live, all that stuff, and get it.
We used to play that at university all the time, and I swear to God, there was a guy we used to play with who for whatever reason, he could not wrap his brain around the phrase "boom shakalaka."
Like he couldn't say it, or
he would say "boom shellac shellac." And it's like, what are you doing?
Boom, shellac, shellac.
It is too early for you to be drunk at school. All right. right.
Okay, Dad, go home.
That's right. So we got an anti-release.
Okay, what do we got?
Pretty big anti-release. So wedged between Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Yep.
Which
Blops.
is COD Blops 4, as we like to call it, October the 19th, and Red Dead Redemption 2, October 26th.
Right, the two juggernauts.
Right in the middle was Battlefield 5.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that was supposed to be out October the 19th, but it seems like they need final adjustments to core gameplay.
Okay.
So they're delaying it to November 20th.
That seems like a misstep. What do you think they're doing with that?
It seems like by a month after release, people will have money again after buying COD Blops 4.
So you don't...
Oh, no,
you don't think there's
not.
anything wrong with it? They're just going to wait until people's banks fill up again and then they're ready to buy it.
For their final adjustments to core gameplay, didn't change the date of their beta. So how big an adjustment could it fucking be?
Yeah. No, because I was thinking, because sometimes we get that whole thing of, oh, hey, they're releasing this game. We found it has this thing built into it, or it does this thing. I mean, we should pull ours back and like put that in our game so it matches up with it, or something.
Last minute adjustments happen, and I mean, you work on a game up to the last minute theoretically, and there's always like day one patches.
Yeah.
But I mean, unless there just happened to be a huge glaring bug, which I mean, I'm not discounting for an EA game.
This is true.
Let alone a Battlefield game, but I think it was mostly like they saw what happened to Infinite Warfare wedged between Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, or wait, was it Titanfall 2? But I don't remember. Whichever one.
Well, Titanfall 2 was the
middle one died.
Was the big loser in that one.
It was Battlefield, Titanfall, then Infinite Warfare. I think it was.
Because you had like the big military shooters that were all popular, and then you had Titanfall 2, which was kind of an up and comer, but you don't stick that between the two juggernauts of the other military shooters.
Especially when you're being backstopped by fucking Red Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, here's your lunch. I'm eating it now. Goodbye. So. Yeah. All right. So other games.
Jesus, this DICE is adding 100% more women to Battlefield 5 because history.
Hey, I mean, whatever. I don't even want to go down that fucking road. People with like weird like prehensile prosthetics that were way too like complicated for that era. I don't fucking know. Doesn't matter. Just play your game. It's not like there's an abundance of reality in a Call of Duty or Battlefield game anyway.
Well, I mean, the whole trick to it is that the whole reason why they have that in there is you have customizable characters. You don't want to play a woman, don't play a woman.
Right.
That is your choice.
Because that's going to like ruin people's experience. Right? It's going to ruin it for everyone. Anyway, also starting yesterday, day before yesterday, it's the 3rd today, right?
Yes.
Games with Gold, some of them are already live. Prison Architect is available September 1st to 30th on Xbox One.
That's a quality one.
That's a good game. It's a good game. Unfortunately, that's about the only one that's good on this list. Live Lock, no fucking idea.
Oh, that's like a little top-down shooter one. You have like different classes and different types of weapons and stuff like that. Like it was a weird little future tech mech looking game. I remember playing it like way back, like a demo of it.
Sure. Was it?
It seemed fun. I mean, it wasn't spectacular by any means. It felt kind of like a MOBA shooter kind of thing.
All right. Available September 16th to October 15th. So mid-month, you'll get that one. Lego Star Wars 3, which is the Clone Wars. That's available from the 1st to the 15th. That's for Xbox One with backwards compatibility. It's an Xbox 360 game. And the Sega Vintage Collection, Monster World. This is the original Monster World.
Nice.
So that's a decent game. I was a big fan of that. Like, I always loved those Monster World games, like, all the way back. I have, like, all the ones that were ever published in North America, basically.
Just all 3 of them?
Well, there's a few more that were digital, actually.
Oh, really?
Monster World 4 and whatnot, yeah. There was, like, a collection that had, I think, the first 3 in a pack. So it doesn't matter. Anyway, PlayStation Plus. You mentioned Destiny 2.
Yep.
For those who haven't been hooked yet. The other one, this is, PlayStation's a good fucking month this month.
Yeah, no kidding.
Destiny 2, God of War 3 remastered
Absolutely.
for PS4.
I want to go back and play that one again because that was one of those, just like God of War 2 when it came out at the end of the PS2 era, God of War 3 when that one came out, that made like like history
man.
for how epic you could make a game and a boss battle and everything.
PS3 God of War 3 was kind of a master class in how to use the hardware for the longest time.
Yeah.
And at GDC, like, how do you get that kind of performance out of a PS3?
There were so many other developers that were just in awe of looking at that game because they're like, oh, you can actually use it like this.
Yes. Yeah, it really shut
so many
people
of them, so many of them fell short on how to develop for it, and then they showed how it was done.
Well, there's a reason that people from Studio Santa Monica and Naughty Dog and whatnot made up like the ICE team that would like paratroop in to the various third parties to say, you know, how do we clean up our fucking PS3 code? And that was back when Sony started to turn it around. But yeah, a lot of people missed out on God of War 3 because they played the original one, and now they need to play God of War 3. So go play God of War 3. I mean, it's not as good as 4, but speaking of which, discount still is my God of War 4. I gotta get that back so I can play
Good luck.
New Game Plus, motherfucker.
He's running for the border right now.
You never know. Another World 20th Anniversary Edition for PS4, PS3, and Vita. That one's good.
Another World. Oh, is that like
the
remaster of
That is the original title. It was released under Another World in Europe, and it was released in North America as Out of This World, I guess, because it conflicted with the soap opera.
I love it. I love that.
It had nothing to do with the soap opera.
That game is like part of my childhood, basically.
Oh, very good, very good. And like how the whole game, like no text, no dialogue, and everything makes perfect sense.
And it's one of those ones that is absolutely. I still to this day with the music and the feeling and the landscapes of the world and stuff.
Right.
I still get a guttural fear and sense of danger when you're in certain areas of that game, and it's an amazing way of presenting it because you don't have any text, you don't have any words, like there's nothing there. It is literally just presented as graphics, and
fucking Black Dog.
You still have that sense of dread and fear in very much like the whole game basically.
How many times did you die hitting spikes while you're swimming?
Oh god, too many.
Right? Sparkle 2, no idea. PS4, PS3, and Vita, and Foul Play. This one is a good one.
What is that one?
I have that game. I have not actually sat down to play it. My understanding is that it is kind of a game where, and I mean, I'm probably going to mangle this content, where you have to take like director's instructions to put on a play.
Okay.
There's some kind of murder or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But it's like you're following the instructions to create this play and stuff. I'm not describing it well. Go look it up. It looks cool. I bought the game back when
it was on Vita, or
it was a crossplay then too. But
yes, in 40-Bow Gaming, yes, it is so good.
Another World is definitely like and Flashback, man. Like the fact that
I talked about it last week. Again, Flashback and Out of This World or Another World. That's just part of my childhood. I just remember being in awe of those games because of what they presented,
right?
And it was a sense of just that storyline, that sense of fear and dread that I had just never seen in a game, because everything else up to then, it was just always, it's a 2D platform. You just jump around, it's all colorful and fun and everything.
I still remember this day, like the first of all, you had to figure out everything, all the puzzles. Like there was. Like that was the Souls games for the 90s.
Yeah,
right?
Except instead of enemies facing off one to one, it was the puzzle of like you got to go
Instant
here, you got to do this, you got to do this, and if you die anywhere in between, you get sent back to X point.
Figuring out the cockpit ejection sequence in that tank.
Oh god,
just jamming buttons like a moron.
Yeah, some of them were more well thought out than others.
Yeah. Welcome to the chat, 40 Below Gaming. Hope you're doing good tonight. Oh man, I was a big and. Sadly, the remaster of Flashback wasn't great, but it was still good. It was kind of interesting. I really wish that EA would... I think they own the rights to that now, because they did Fade to Black, right?
Yeah, you had said, again, when we talked about last week, you said they are bringing out a true-to-form, remaster of it. So it'll be just like playing it on the Super Nintendo or whatever.
Yeah, but with some additional post-processing. But they're not like doing a ground-up remaster. Anyway, all right, let's get to the news. All right. Spider-Man, Friday.
Of course.
Yes.
the one that everyone's waiting for.
Yes. The review embargo is up tomorrow. So after that, we can talk about it a little bit more openly.
Yeah.
But I've seen some things.
Oh, you've gotten to see some like behind closed doors stuff?
I have seen some things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had an extensive discussion. I've seen some things. We're going to come back a little bit later. But Yeah.
It's the news that he does whatever a spider can.
Thanks, Radiophage. That unfortunately is one of the things. Like it's actually his name is Herschel Spiderman. It's like I love saying Spider-Man like he's he's a Jewish guy. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, the Spider-Man. Spider-Man. God damn it! I'm doing it.
Yeah, you're stuck now.
The game comes out Friday.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm saying that not
Despite
revealing any embargo stuff.
Despite what the internet is clamoring about right now.
Wait
that puddle's smaller than it was in the E3 trailer.
Okay, so we'll get to that. But Insomniac, they've obviously the game went gold. It's going to be in stores on Friday. It's already in the hands of reviewers.
And our very own Commander Santa is just salivating over his pre-order for his game.
We're gonna talk about it starting tomorrow. They've already started working on their post-launch DLC plan. There's going to be a 3-part DLC series called The City That Never Sleeps. So starting October 23rd will be part 1, and that'll be The Heist.
Okay.
And it's going to, apparently in the main game, you run into clues about Black Cat being in the city. In The Heist, she actually comes and you encounter her.
Okay.
So it's going to have new missions and challenges, brand new faction of enemies, and there's going to be additional suits to unlock with each individual DLC pack. So November will be part 2, which will be called Turf Wars. December will be part 3 called Silver Lining.
Okay.
So each one's going to be $9.99 US each, or it's going to be $24.99 for all 3. So there's going to be like a season pass.
Okay.
So I don't know if presumably if these are successful, maybe they'll do a second set under a different name, but it sounds like they're doing them in chunks.
It sounds very much like the Arkham City or the Arkham game idea where, you have this extra DLC content, adds more story, more factions or minions or whatever, and then you have a new boss to fight, and then because they had Catwoman in there, and she was a playable character, but then they had like her own section that you could play, and then you had Robin, and like he had his own part. And
but you have to bring up Batman, because now I'm thinking about Arkham City, where they bring out a different character and all the trophies, where you do all the same fucking challenges again with the new character.
Hey man, that sounds like a you problem, Mr. Trophy Hunter.
No, I pulled the plug in Arkham City. It was like I did Arkham Asylum, right?
Yeah.
And Shock and Awe
Arkham
Extreme
Asylum was still a small enough of a chunk of gameplay to actually keep it under wraps.
No.
Arkham City was just like 100 times bigger.
Shock and Awe Extreme nearly ended me as a gamer. So that game alone, when I got back to Arkham City and I finished the game and I got all the collectibles, it was not even that, like all the Riddler trophies, like I got all of them.
Yeah.
And it's like I started in on the individual challenges, and it's like, oh, I remember this. And it's like, oh, there's more of them. Oh, and I have to do them with all the DLC characters. Well,
no.
Fuck that. And I was done. So anyway, regardless, Spider-Man, hopefully not going to be that. It's going to be like story stuff, apparently.
No, just how it interacts with the other characters and introduces them and stuff.
So let's talk about Puddlegate.
Okay.
Because that's what they're calling it.
So I didn't know it had a title, but that's basically what it's come down to.
Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar, or for those of you who have like a
catch people up in the stream as
rational thought in your head. So this is the latest fake outrage that there's supposedly been a downgrade for Spider-Man. Okay, first of all, there hasn't. There's just not. So the whole thing came to a head when on Reddit they noticed that in the trailer that was just put out versus the demonstration they had, I think it was for PSX last year.
Yeah.
It was like they were in the construction site, and on the ground was a huge puddle in the PSX trailer. But in the most recent trailer, the puddle was very small and not in the same position. Time of day was different. Everyone looked like whatever. Long story short, they screamed downgrade.
Hey, our wallpaper broke.
We lost our wallpaper. What is happening?
How dare you?
Wallpaper? Instead, look at this starry night.
And this lovely tent in the corner.
Why have we lost our wallpaper?
I don't know. XSplit decided to go away.
We just got downgraded.
Well, like literally?
No.
Oh, okay.
The wallpaper downgrade.
Yep, Radiophage, this is a wallpaper downgrade. Yeah, this one is with 100% less motion. That's why it's a downgrade.
I have no idea why it downgraded. It wasn't doing anything.
Are you gonna be able to fix it, or are we gonna have a starry night for a wallpaper? Oh, what a fiasco! what is Radiophage demands the version of DF you showed at the expo this summer pushes up glasses. No, well, we did. There you go. How's that for wallpaper? Confused Marky Mark. Welcome back.
Yes.
Yeah, so
all right.
What's the deal?
So yeah, so they were all upset, and okay, so first of all, time of day was different, shadows were different. They looked at it, they thought downgrade, and then they were comparing like a capture from a YouTube video, which is compressed video, you know.
As we all know, that's, never do that.
No.
A YouTube video is not worth anything. If you screen capture that, it's just...
No.
You might as well JPEG that 10 times.
GIF it. I mean, it's garbage. So anyway, long story short, the best part about it was that there is this huge Reddit thread about it, and they're just getting angrier and angrier. They're claiming like details on the suit were lost. So get this. This is there was literally this comment. Okay. I want to read this.
Okay, read it.
Because this is so patently ridiculous that I literally laughed out loud. We all know the PlayStation can't handle it. Insomniac was thinking about building it on the One and got carried away, so they had to dial it back for the PS4.
What?
That doesn't even make sense on the face of it, but patently an untrue statement. This is like a Trump logic kind of fucking statement. So
they were thinking about building it for the One.
They were going to build it on the
6 years ago.
Right. Because apparently...
For the final details of Spider-Man's suit were thought up 6 years ago.
Yes.
And then they had to dial it back.
No, they're going to build it... No, they're talking about the Xbox One. Like,
no, that's what I mean, though, is like, in his mind... From day one, the detail of Spider-Man's suit was already thought out. No, that's not how that fucking works, you idiot.
So the Xbox One, they can't handle it, so they dial it back for the PS4. Like, maybe they're talking about the X, but even still, like, do they forget who owns the fucking rights to Spider-Man?
Yeah.
So anyway...
So many things wrong with that comment.
Yeah. It was such a ridiculous gamer echo chamber on that Reddit thread. So, I mean, people, console zealots like to hit the other guy over the head when there's a downgrade, whatever. Games change during development, fine. That is not what happened here.
Yeah.
So anyway, it got to the point that other developers are actually responding to it, right? Because first of all, it reminded me of like what CD Projekt Red, it like literally brings back. Like, they didn't want to show the game for so long because they were afraid, that you change something, like, why is that gun firing different?
Well, especially a game like Cyberpunk where they've been developing it for so long.
Years.
You show them a trailer from 4 years ago versus a new one, it's going to look like a completely different game.
Right. And I mean, like, stuff changes during development. That's just a fact of life. But you show something, like, you don't want to run into, like, the Sean Murray issue, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so... literally at a panel at PAX West this weekend, BioWare, they were showing off screenshots from Anthem. And their lead producer, Michael Gamble, he says, and this is the direct quote, in this screenshot, there's a lot to unpack here, but most importantly, you'll see there's a puddle in the ground right in the middle there. So before we move on, there's a 98% chance that this puddle is going to be changed, moved, reduced, etc. So everyone laughs immediately because they know exactly... Like, it's such a ridiculous fucking thing to be angry about.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I've seen uncompressed screenshots. I've seen, like, direct screenshots. I've seen things. The game is fine. That's not a qualitative statement. It's just in terms of the graphics, it isn't a downgrade. You just...
Of course, and even if it got slightly downgraded, it's still a gigantic, no-loading screen, open-world Spider-Man game that everyone has wanted since Spider-Man 2 for PS2. So shut the fuck up and play the game.
It looks fantastic. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, but it does look amazing. And Friday, everyone will have it in their fucking hands, so they can, eat it.
They can go there directly themselves and stare at the puddle.
Exactly.
Be like, you did this!
Such a stupid thing to be angry about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so speaking of the
people
internet
walk
being
around
stupid,
with their pitchforks in their ass these days, just waiting to pull it out for something like that. So.
Oh, well, speaking of which, you remember Sword and Sorcery?
Yeah, a little bit.
Great game back in the day, like out in the iOS, Android, all those. I think it's out for like PS3, PS3, and Xbox. And
it was one of those ones that really introduced that minimalist pixel art type character animation and stuff like that.
Soundtrack.
And an amazing soundtrack.
Amazing soundtrack.
Because you had proper artists behind the game
Right.
that, you know, where, you know, they knew guitar and drums and piano and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
that helped.
So it turns out that it's coming to the Switch.
Okay.
But unlike the original versions, the developer, Cappy, they said they will be removing the Twitter integration from the game. It used to let you, like, all the lines...
I didn't know it had Twitter integration.
Like, all the dialogue in the game was capped out. Like, no line of dialogue was longer than 140 characters. Because you used to be able to, like, immediately tweet out any line of dialogue directly to Twitter.
What a weird concept.
It was kind of interesting. But, yeah, so all of the lines in the game were less than 140 characters because that was the limit back then.
Yeah.
So the reason they said this, and they tackle this directly, the creative director, Chris Piotrowski, he said, the reason for this is simple. When we first launched Sorcery many moons ago, Twitter was fun and nice and cool. In the year 2018, Twitter is a vat of toxic waste. We want nothing to do with it. When asked for further comment, he literally tweeted back a picture, a graphic, and it says, since our prior experiment in 2011, social networks have been proven to be catastrophic for society. So we now encourage isolation and regretful reflection.
Sassy. I like it.
Yes, but, you know, right on the fucking point.
And don't let that distract you from the fact that Shooter McGavin blew a 4-stroke lead to give Happy Gilmore the championship.
Hey, he eats pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
Thank you for that, Mame Kill.
Yes, indeed. Oh, man. I remember when Adam Sandler made good movies.
Yep. Mid-90s. That is all.
Both of them. Anyway, so speaking of mid-90s, let's talk about Resident Evil 2.
Oh, yes.
So Resident Evil 2, like Resident Evil 1, the remake, you know, was excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people thought that was like the proper version of the game.
They killed it with multiple remakes of Resident Evil 1
Yeah.
also. Like, even back on the GameCube when they remade it, it was was well done.
I mean, it was definitely good, and with Resident Evil 0 and whatnot, I think now the remakes are actually the definitive version.
Oh,
now.
absolutely, yeah. Because they've gone in and thought about every nook and cranny of that game.
Yeah,
because they've had the fandom for 20 years now or whatever, so yeah.
Of course, being mired in remakes would be a fucking Capcom issue. But anyway, so Resident Evil 2, they were talking about it a lot during a recent interview at Gamescom, and there's actually a very interesting comment from the director, Kazunori Kodoi. He's talking about how their adaptation had to redefine the content of the original in order to fit the more realistic look of the remake. So the quotes he has is, our aim is to cross the line that separates the fantastic from the realistic. At times, the original version was too prone to quote-unquote fantastic. And this aspect, when you try to propose a more photorealistic graphics and a more serious narrative tone, risks making everything a little out of context. On the other hand, however, if the hand is touched too much on realism, the game may no longer be so fun. And so we try to balance realism with entertainment. So on the whole, we've increased the level of realism with the remake, but without exaggerating. He says the direction of the Resident Evil 2 remake could influence the direction of the series in future.
I like that concept, because when you think about it,
yeah,
they have kind of walked that line between fantastic and realism.
Well, they kind of stepped over the line the further they got down the line.
This is true. I mean, you look at something like Nemesis or whatever, but...
I mean, Nemesis was pretty over the line, but
yeah.
Resident Evil 4, I think, was good, but 5 went off the fucking rails.
Even 4 had laughable stuff in it, but ultimately it was still a very solid game. It just had those kind of quirky bits to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like was it a Spanish village or some shit?
Well, the little Napoleon guy and stuff like that. That got a little weird.
Wait, Little Napoleon?
Yeah, there was a little guy.
Okay, no, I was gonna say.
I think he was literally dressed as like Napoleon or some kind of like weird kind of coat jacket thing with a tri-corner hat, and he was trying to steal the president's daughter, and it sounds like a Taken movie.
Or Escape from New York, I guess.
Yeah. But outside of that, it was by far one of the best Resident Evil games. But
wait a minute.
you still had that mix of realism and fantastic, as they put it.
Janice Marine, what was the movie that was so close to Escape from New York that they got sued? It had Guy Pearce in it. They were in space on a colony. I think it was Guy Pearce.
Wasn't that Jailbreak or something like that?
I think it was Guy Pearce and Maggie.
Jail Colony or like...
something Lockout.
Lockout, yeah, that was it.
It wasn't a bad movie either, but it was like they got sued.
It was
and
that
rightly
close.
So. Oh yeah, the second I saw it, I'm like, this is just Escape from New York in space. Because it was like the president's daughter or some shit on this penal colony in space.
I saw it always go by on Netflix, and I was tempted to watch it because it did look entertaining.
It's
so,
good.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it. It was entertaining, but it was totally a fucking ripoff.
Okay.
Anyway.
Not that any other movie ever has been a ripoff.
No,
of
but I mean, there's like Dante's Peak and Asteroid.
Yeah.
And then there's like, Yojimbo and
Transformers and Transmorphers.
yes.
With 1/16 the budget and acting talent.
Anyway, so I mean, it could be neat. Like if they're interested in remaking the Resident Evil games, they go all the way down the line, and they rein it in.
Because you not only get a remaster of some solid games, but they're gonna slightly skew the storyline in the way that they need to, that it isn't patently ridiculous.
I have a feeling that they will stop after Resident Evil 4.
I think so too.
Yes.
5 just
and 6 is right.
Oh wow, yeah, 6 is like
with the giraffe giving the guy a blowjob. All right, the guy giving a blowjob to the giraffe.
Yes, yeah, because it was like the 6 logo.
Can't unsee that. Can't unsee that. All right, so let's talk about Sony for a bit.
Okay.
So Sony and crossplay, kind of a
hasn't been great.
It's kind of a here and there,
it's a rough patch over the last little while.
So again, you want to talk about Microsoft diehards loving to hit Sony with that. That's a thing they love to always bring up. But what about anyway? So Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida. He's the guy who took over for Ken Kutaragi.
Oh, okay.
Kenichiro Yoshida. I'm not used to saying his name yet. He was speaking at the IFA Technology Show in Berlin. He answered questions about their stance on Fortnite crossplay and console-specific accounts. The press were asking random things. And this guy's slick as shit. You got to watch out for this guy. So he says, on cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partner with PlayStation 4 is the best experience for users. That's our belief. But actually, we already opened some games as cross-platform with PC and some others, so we decide based on what is the best user experience. That's our way of thinking for cross-platform. So it's like a non-apology, non-explanation.
Yeah.
That kind of answers the question, but absolutely doesn't.
Nope, absolutely not.
Yeah. So basically, it comes down. He says, "I think competition is always good. Healthy, fair competition is always good for the industry and growth." So basically, it's like,
thanks for the non-answer.
It's like basically we're on top, so why should I give you a hand up?
That's kind of it.
But he's good. He's literally owning it though here, where we knew that was the case,
he's not really mincing words about it.
He's saying it in a very polite, like a very Japanese way.
Yeah.
But he's basically thumbing his nose at "fuck you, Microsoft."
And it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of unfortunate because I'm on both sides of the fence on that one, because I understand their stance, from their past and from business-wise, obviously.
From security and from strategy, it makes sense.
Yeah, a business strategy. They were the guy on, they were the guy that was down, years ago and stuff like that. And Microsoft had the same chance to do it, and they did the same thing. They said, "Fuck you.
Yeah,
we're on top.
Granted, all
you
Sony,
do your own thing."
All Sony missed out on was Defiance crossplay.
But I mean, it could have led to other things because we were still.
Right.
Not online play wasn't exactly its infancy, but there wasn't near as many options for multiplayer online. Stuff that could have been cross-platform.
Portal 2.
But either way,
awesome.
that's kind of, it was one of those things. Like, it was, that's why I'm on both sides of the fence, because I understand it from their business side.
Yep.
But I also understand it from the other side of just, can we put the console war to bed and can we just have cross-platform? Like, let people buy the game that they want and let them play with everyone else.
It's never going to happen. I mean, exclusives are why people buy consoles. Otherwise, it would just everyone would
But not exclusives, though. Like, you're talking Fortnite and Rocket League.
That is effectively a de facto exclusive, right? Because anything you can do to incentivize buying your console over the other guys, and especially when you're already the dominant console.
But it's a closed door at that point. Because if you're dude A, and you walk into a store, and there's a PlayStation and an Xbox sitting there, or even a Switch. We'll talk about Fork Knife.
Right.
You see those 3 consoles in front of you, and Sony has this closed door to the other 2.
Yeah.
You pick up a Switch or an Xbox, you have options to play with those 2 friends. You pick up a PlayStation, you are playing with PlayStation people. That is it. Now, to be fair, they have a large part of the market, but still, that closed door, that turns people off from that too. But again, it's from both sides. I understand it from a gamer's perspective, and I understand it from a business perspective, and that's why it's both sides of it.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot, but I mean, in general, it's like, anything that they can do. Like if statistically more people have PlayStations than Xbox, that's just math.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you've got 3 friends that are playing Destiny 2, for example, on the PlayStation, and they don't have crossplay, obviously.
Yeah.
And you have an Xbox, at the very least, you are thinking, either I need to buy a PlayStation to play with my friends, or maybe I don't even bother buying it on the Xbox because I'll have no one to play with.
Yeah.
Because as far as Sony is concerned, not buying a game on their console is as good as buying one on ours. I mean, it's not as good, but I mean,
I was gonna say that money just goes nowhere.
Second best, At least you're not spending money on them. So, but I mean, it just incentivizes switching over, buying a second console, right? I mean, logically, it makes sense. Business-wise, it makes sense. It's shitty for consumers, but
Yeah. Because I don't know, I'm, just being older and shit like that. Now it's like, I don't fucking care anymore. I get it, back in the day, the console wars were hot. It was all about exclusives and stuff like that. Now it's just like, they're all just gaming rinks. Just fucking pick one and play. And that's kind of where I want it to be. But, of course, there's people who are diehards of one or the other. You have, of course, businesses that's their model. They can't allow that to happen because of the money and whatnot. So,
Two things were just said I want to talk about. J2 says, except any intelligent gamer who wants to play FPS and third-person shooters will buy a PC because its keyboard and mouse will always be more precise and quicker than any controller on the market. Yes and no. First, yes, it'll be a better experience graphically. Second, interface is kind of subjective. But third, a lot of people don't have the kind of money to buy a good PC to run
that's a big issue all the time. Is you have, as we always refer to, PC master race. Because it's just buy a PC. Well, the problem is that I can go to the store and I can buy a PS4 that looks great, plays great for like $300 right now.
Right.
Or you go to a place like Memory Express or whatever, like your local PC gaming place, build a PC, buy a pre-built one, you are $1,500 deep in that.
Yep. And
monitor, keyboard, mouse,
and then you have
unit,
to worry about
all the plugs, all the cord, everything going on with that.
And you have to worry about hardware interactions and things that are hardware-specific bugs, like your card works, but this card doesn't, and maybe you've got a BIOS issue that fucks you up.
Yeah.
God damn it, that screwed that day. Simple fix, but
and Namekill, anyway. Just on your quick note there too.
That was the other thing.
Granted, you can plug a keyboard and mouse in. Not every game supports it though.
Most games don't.
Yeah.
In the PS4, there is a native support in the API for keyboard and mouse. Most developers don't bother to do it because a lot of people just like to use the controllers.
Unless they're one of the big shooters, like a Battlefield or a Blops or whatever.
I honestly don't even think they do on the PS4. I haven't checked, but
I think some of the bigger shooters do. But either way, I mean, that is an option, but it's only if the game supports it. So there is that aspect to it too.
Necro says even on the cheap end, you won't get away with less than $800 for
exactly.
PC.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So you're looking at a trifold for a PC versus an Xbox or a PS4.
And then people bring in the argument, but you have to buy a monitor, but you have to buy a $1,500 television to get 4K. And I mean,
everyone has a TV.
you pick your hill to die on, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But I mean, if you can afford a PC, yes, it's the better experience in terms of graphics.
And to be fair, too, some people, depending on how they like to play, there are plenty of people that own a PC and they will just hook up an Xbox controller to it and play their game like that. That's just how they game.
I feel so dirty that I have an Xbox controller just to play like State of Decay and whatnot.
It works. It's a solid controller. I like it.
Yeah, but I think that's more of a Microsoft issue because they have like the hooks natively within Windows.
It's
for
Microsoft,
Xbox,
so
right?
I mean, what are you going to do?
Meanwhile,
as far as I know, PS4 has a dongle that you can buy that the PS4 works with the PC also.
You could just plug it in and just use it like a controller, but there's some inconsistencies.
Yeah,
I think that's just like an antitrust issue that Microsoft has to deal with. Doesn't matter. Anyway, let's talk about Fortnite and how.
But I don't want to talk about Fortnite.
Oh yes. So you
did they make $500 million in August?
No, it's nothing about that. You remember we talked about like a few weeks back. We were talking about how Fortnite coming to Android. They want to do their own installer. They don't want to go through Google Play.
Right. Yes, they were going to do an APK, and they were
So they're going to save 30%. So here's the thing: they released the game. The launcher has an exploit in it that allows allowed people to allowed for hackers to install malware onto Android devices.
Ooh, that's gonna be bad. Oh, why don't we go through Android again? Oh, right.
So here's the thing. So this security problem was discovered. This is the Friday before last.
Okay.
And the second it was discovered, Google announced it to all of its Android customers.
Yeah.
This is a problem with the Fortnite installer. Hey, look at this exploit.
Hey, Epic, under the bus.
Right. So I think we remember, right? Oh, we're not going to go through Google Play. Oh, well, fuckers.
Too bad.
You're right. So anyway, they patched it, right? The problem's gone now, but, and I mean, they immediately disclosed the bug, which is fine. But Epic's CEO kind of clapped back a little bit. They
was it necessary? Jeez.
Oh no. Like I'm gonna read this remark. This is like super catty. So Epic CEO Tim Sweeney, he said, Epic genuinely appreciated Google's effort to perform an in-depth security audit of Fortnite immediately following our release on Android and share the results with Epic so we could speedily issue an update to fix the flaw they discovered. However, it was irresponsible of Google to publicly disclose the technical details of the flaw so quickly while many installations had not yet been updated and were still vulnerable. And they go on to say, Google's security analysis efforts are appreciated and benefit the Android platform. However, a company as powerful as Google should practice more responsible disclosure timing than this and not endanger users in the course of its counter PR efforts against Epic's distribution of Fortnite outside of Google Play.
It's just calling it like it is.
Okay.
That's funny.
It's super funny to see two big juggernauts like this, like slugging it out. Okay, so first of all, Google, they discovered this, like how they went about discovering this, whatever. I think they went looking for something and they found one.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Definitely. So anyway, the fact that they disclosed it immediately, it bothers me that Epic says, oh, they should have waited, because this is a problem. If you have this exploit on your system and you have something like a malware come in, right, they're taking steps to protect Android users, which Google obviously has an interest in. I mean, yes, it's a secondary motive, but
I think the main issue in there is that they didn't have to call it exactly what it was.
Oh, they did.
Google could have came out and said, "Oh, hey, there's this security issue." Or Epic's looking into it or whatever, but they don't have to be like, hey guys, there's an issue and here's exactly what it is right here.
Well, they didn't tell you how to exploit it. They just said there was an exploit.
The problem is that you get it down to that finite level. Anyone that can exploit that, they know exactly where that is and they know what to do with it.
I mean, I don't know about that. I think you'd have to have a little bit more background information to be able to actually exploit it. But the point was that I think it was right for Google to say, there is this problem. You need to uninstall this until they fix it.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that they discovered it because they were being bitches, allegedly withdrawn. I mean, that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
The point is, I think it's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Because you have them both just swiping at each other the whole time. So yeah, shit like that is going to happen.
Right.
It's probably going to happen again too. I mean, like there'll be something else that goes awry, and Google's gonna be like, oh, look at these idiots doing this now.
So Mankill says, half of me says, haha, fuck you, Epic. Half of me says he's right. If you release the info before it's fixed, people could take advantage. But I mean, they didn't tell you what it was or how to exploit it or specifics about it. All they know is, there is an exploit.
It sounds like they got kind of specific about it. So
that was literally all they had.
I think if they drew it back a level and said, oh, hey, there's something wrong with it,
I don't know.
They uninstall it because there was a security issue.
I don't think you can mince words when it comes to something like a backdoor that will allow malware to be installed on your phone. Like, that's a pretty big issue. That's a privacy issue. I think, actually, in terms of things like...
You could tell it was something they were waiting to happen.
Oh, no, I mean, they went looking for it, sure. But, I mean, if you think about if that was released in Europe with, like, the GDPR, any kind of hack that would have compromised personal identifiable information would have been, like, a huge monetary issue for if Google didn't say something and warn them immediately. But the point is, they did their due diligence. They washed their hands of it. Screw you, Epic. See you on Google Play. Woo! That was basically it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the response from Tim Sweeney was like, wow. We're just going to be just cut right to it and just slap you.
The gloves are off.
Right. Oh my God.
That's entertaining.
It was entertaining. I laughed a bit.
That makes me happy.
Good people on both sides, right?
Yep.
Good job, Trump. Anyway, so No Man's Sky, again, we sort of have a weekly thing. There's a new patch.
There's apparently a weekly thing now. So
I mean, they've done a lot of patches recently, just sort of tweaking Atlas Rises. No, what's the new one?
Next. Next was like the newest one.
Yeah, Next. Anyway, so they introduced now this alternate currency system, this Quicksilver.
Okay.
We've been talking about for a while. They have weekly events. Right now, it's just a simple thing like go out and dig for these technology modules, and when you scrape up a certain number of them, you turn them in for Quicksilver.
Dig for this Quicksilver, and you get Quicksilver.
That's basically it. No, you dig for item X, you bring in item X in certain quantities, and you trade it for Quicksilver. And it's the whole Nada and Polo thing on their big fucking anomaly ship. But anyway, thing is, though, it actually gives you things like there's going to be, you have right now available, there's a bunch of new decals, there's a bunch of new statues for your base, some nice ones. There's a new helmet you can buy, so customization for your character, and a new emote of the mind blown emote, which is kind of funny. So, I mean, decently affordable. It didn't take me long to get the few that I was interested in, like this week. Like, I sat down and I played for a couple hours.
Now, being a new player, if I pick this up,
yes,
am I going to miss out on this stuff if I wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever?
Presumably, they're going to be adding to it. I don't think it's like seasonal where it goes away.
It'll be an ever-growing marketplace of this stuff instead.
Well, the phrasing they says on their website, it says, over the coming weeks, this will expand to 50-plus items, including further base parts, emotes, customizations, exocraft, and more. Now, I want to draw your attention to that phrase, exocraft. They didn't say exocraft customizations. They said, like, exocraft.
Okay.
Like, full vehicles
right.
in addition to the ones you already have.
So they'll be like unique ones that you can only buy with Quicksilver.
Right? Then. Or variations on the existing ones that have maybe more slots or something. I mean, that's pretty big. So, I mean, more customizations, more base stuff. I'm always down for that. And apparently the quests you go on to get the Quicksilver are going to change over the weeks. But as it is, it says week 1 of 8. So already they've got like the next 2 months basically planned.
Okay.
And it's going to be an ongoing thing, apparently.
I hope that they have some fun with it, rather than just be like, go kill 9 space ducks and then you get Quicksilver for it.
Oh, space duck. Such a majestic creature. So, obviously, I think No Man's Sky has been consistently getting better and better.
Again, we talked about it, but it sounds like
water.
It sounds like a full game. This sounds like a proper experience now to pick up.
Yes.
And it's not even an $80 game now, so...
No, exactly. So let's get to the other side of the microtransaction coin.
The Space Duck did nothing wrong.
Space Duck did nothing wrong. Quack! So we've talked about Star Citizen multiple times.
Yes, but how many hundreds of millions is it at now?
190.
Oh, God.
$190 million. And still not released. So... no usable product, $190 million, change scope, increase scope.
Scope.
You literally can't even get a refund anymore because it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
So you're out of luck. Anyway, so I don't know if you knew about this, but they do a yearly event, and there's one coming up in October called CitizenCon 2948, which is presumably the space year they're in.
Okay.
We get it. You're from space. They're celebrating 6 years since the game's been announced. And first of all...
6 years of beta!
Right. Like, why is that something to celebrate, first of all? Like, it seems like you're tempting fate, right? That's like a Duke Nukem Forever celebration. So the whole thing's going to be live streamed. They're going to have like a local event. They're going to live stream it to the internet. And when they announced it, the awesome part is they actually give you a digital ticket. You can get live streaming access to all the presentations. You get digital items that are exclusively given away, an in-game wearable duster jacket, a trophy, a weapon, access to purchase exclusive merchandise. Yeah. What the hell? XSplit.
Our wallpaper. What a fiasco.
XSplit. Anyway, so in order to get this digital streamed version of the...
Oh, don't say pay-per-view. Don't say pay-per-view.
$20 for the digital ticket.
My God. Really?
Yeah. So the internet explodes. And people are pissed.
Of course.
And Chris Roberts, he tries to defend the paywall like an idiot, allegedly. Like in my opinion, that was not a good move, an idiotic move. So he talked about the cost of editing and streaming the event. Granted, I mean, we're not as big as them, but
what the fuck?
Yeah. So eventually, Cloud Imperium Games relented, said they'd be cutting back on the live streaming crew and costs, and anyone with a Star Citizen user account would be able to see the event for free. But you can still buy all the digital stuff. You can support the show by purchasing the CitizenCon digital goodies package.
Support my wallet.
Right. Because I guess $190 million doesn't go as far as it used to.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Having to scrimp and save these guys.
Like, 6 years. Over $190 million.
And they're still asking for money. They are continuously asking for more money.
I don't even know how that's possible. I feel like the government should step in and stop them or something.
Makes me think that they should declare themselves a religion.
Yeah, at this point. And that's a cult if I've ever seen one.
Well, people, they like to justify their belief in Cloud Imperium Games and in Star Citizen, so it is very much like a cult.
Yeah. And then we got Necro and Mamekill talking about the new Rebel Galaxy game coming out in the chat here.
Rebel Galaxy game?
Apparently, yeah. The link is there, so I know Mamekill's excited because he absolutely adored that game when because it was one of the PS Plus games, I believe. Yeah.
That game was amazing.
It was basically like a Dreadnought game, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It was like Assassin's Creed 4 in space.
But yeah, apparently, I think what he was saying up here, if I can go back. I don't know if I can go up. No, I can't go back. I think they were saying something like the new Rebel Galaxy game was poking fun at Star Citizen or something like that. So.
Maybe. I mean, the soundtrack was amazing. Every once in a while, I'll pick up a song that I heard in Rebel Galaxy and be like, oh, that's awesome. I missed that game. I actually was sorely tempted to play it again after playing Black Sails, but not wanting to go back to Assassin's Creed 4.
Oh, yeah.
After just playing it like a month ago.
Because you just want the shippy goodness.
Right, because I like that kind of game. I like No Man's Sky, but I wanted to get into like an X Beyond the Frontier or Elite Dangerous kind of style.
Rebel Galaxy Outlaw.
Rebel Galaxy
coming to
Outlaw.
the PC, PS4, Nintendo Switch, planned for first quarter 2019 for $30.
Okay, I will look into that. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw.
That's damn good. I love it when a title comes out and they aren't like, hey, fuck you, $80.
Yeah. Oh, I got a lot of those coming up actually in the news as well.
Good. And Mamekill wants to know if you finished Black Sails yet.
I am, I think, 3 or 4 episodes from the end of Black Sails. I am like just to the point where basically Nassau gets like fucked by the Spanish.
Nassau.
N-A-S-A-U. Anyone who likes that kind of game, like those pirate games, knows where Nassau is. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting, and it's to the point where Spain is like fucking the town hard. Anyway, so they relented. You can watch it for free.
What if I don't want to watch it?
Then don't. You can join me for a not watching Star Citizen Con party. So let's talk about things we actually do want to see. There are wild rumors about things that are coming to Netflix.
Okay.
So it hasn't been verified. This is all like up in the air. But an interesting rumor this week, apparently based on the success that Netflix has had with the Castlevania anime, they're looking to bring other video game properties to Netflix.
Well, if they do it as well as Castlevania was, then I am totally on board with it.
And the rumor is that the property that's being floated for Netflix to adapt is Diablo.
Yes! Oh, that would be so good.
So, according to the website Attack of the Fans, Netflix is looking at creating a new series based on Diablo. It's apparently got the writer Andrew Cosby attached, who is the screenwriter for the upcoming Hellboy remake.
Oh, okay.
And he's been on... He actually did a bunch of scripts for Eureka and a few other shows.
Like Monster of the Week kind of TV shows?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Phage can't wait for the cow episode.
Can't wait for the cow episode.
I'm sure
amazing.
They'll have one. They'll have a,
spinning barbarian and everything.
They'll have something in there, an Easter egg for it, or or a special like Halloween episode or something like that.
So it's totally a rumor, like pinch of salt, like block of salt on your head. But anyway, other awesome rumors, and these are really good rumors. So Yakuza Kiwami 2 came out last week.
Yes.
And I have not played it. And
surprise.
I've been trying to get to it.
I know. You're chomping through your forlog. I don't know, stuff you've played already.
Forlog?
Yes, backlog, forlog.
Kind of like a backlog, but you've already played it. Would that be a forlog?
Relog.
Yeah, I think it would be something else because forlog would kind of. It doesn't matter. It's completely not the point. Anyway, so Yakuza Kiwami 2 came out last week. Sega is already looking for feedback on the Yakuza franchise. There was a survey that went out to some fans, and it had some very interesting questions on it. So here are some questions from the survey they had. First of all, how interested are you in purchasing remasters or remakes of existing Yakuza games? Just for the sake of argument, how interested are you?
I mean, I would need to play a bunch of them first, so...
But in theory... Very.
I'm a big proponent of remasters just because I can have them all in the same place.
Right.
So
that's always nice.
If I can have an entire series of 6 games, 8 games, 10 games, all in the same console, I'm totally down with that.
They also asked, how interested are you in purchasing new games set in the world of Yakuza, which I assume mean like sequels not related to Kazuma Kiryu.
Right.
How interested are you in purchasing games created by the Yakuza team in other worlds, like the upcoming Fist of the North Star game, which I'm kind of very interested in?
Yeah, no kidding.
Fist of the North Star with Yakuza mechanics?
Sure.
Crazy. So here's the one that gets me.
Mm-hmm.
How interested are you in purchasing the various spin-off titles that have never received Western release?
Oh, okay. So
yes.
Which ones did they have, though?
Yakuza Ishin and Yakuza Kenzan. These were the two weird side stories that took place like in the past.
Were they as weird as Dead Souls?
Well, it's like kind of that kind of thing. Like it's a side story, but rather than it being in a zombie universe, it takes place like one was in the Edo period. Like,
right, yeah.
Kenzan.
Just classic samurai like period, yeah.
So that was in the Edo period, and that was on the PlayStation 3 in 2008. Yakuza Ishin was set up a spin-off during the Bakumatsu period. That was in 2014. So that's relatively recent. But that came out for PS4, PS3 in Japan. I would absolutely love to have either of those, if not both of those games.
Mm-hmm.
They would definitely be a lot better than Yakuza Dead Souls, for Christ's sake. Fuck that game and everything in it.
Oh, because it's samurai goodness, so...
Yeah. But just the fact that that's even a possibility, I'm so fucking on board for.
And back on that anime thing, Jay Tanuki said there was also creator of Castlevania anime also said previously that he has a huge interest in giving the Assassin's Creed the same treatment, too.
That's the... who's the guy? Is that the Expanse guy? No, it's the other guy.
The Expanse guy? Was there an Expanse like writer that was in on that, or
I'm gonna have to look it up. I thought there was like I might be conflating two things, but there's Garth Ennis was the writer, but there was a showrunner who I thought was also attached to the Expanse.
Oh, okay.
Wrong. Someone look up the showrunner from the Castlevania anime.
But either way, I mean, again, if they can make a bunch of shows in the same... He was
talking about doing Metroid, right?
In the same vein as as they did as Castlevania,
yeah.
I'm totally on board with it, because they nailed it. Like
they did.
They have enough story and flair in there that it's very much Castlevania, but it's its own thing, too. Like, I like how they did it. It has great animation. It has good pacing. Like, it was just very, very well done.
And Garth Ennis' dialogue is awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the goats of sashimi.
Oh, yes.
So Sucker Punch posted Twitter a bunch of photos recently. They actually had actual samurai, basically, in their studio. So how seriously they're taking their research on the game, they had Masakumo Kuwami, the 10th Grandmaster of the Jesus Christ.
Quite the title.
Tenshinryu Hirohu School. 10th Grandmaster, he's the master of the school, and his other instructor, Ryusetsu Ide. They basically had a bunch of samurai skills demonstrations. They did a bunch of work on the game, presumably. They were basically consultants for the game.
Modern day samurai that helped to build the game, basically.
Working on like their technique, their animation, like that kind of stuff. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
If you go out to the internet and you wouldn't be able to spell that from my pronunciation. But Masakumo Kiwami, the Tenshinryu Hirohu School.
So, yeah, go try to find that.
I'll go
I'm sure if you look up Ghost of Tsushima,
it's on the Sucker Punch tweet on their Twitter page.
You'll find new information on it, basically.
You can actually find video of them doing like traditionally crazy samurai shit with their swords.
Oh, and JT actually brought back something. Oh, actually, it was announced in July 2017
Adi
that
Shankar.
Adi Shankar, the creator, announced Assassin's Creed would be his next anime.
Yes.
So that is fucking awesome.
I don't think that's the guy. Was that the guy I was thinking of? It might be the guy I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, you're way better with names than I am. So.
Yes. Well, I mean, under certain circumstances, I'm terrible with names until I know why a person is important. So I'm really bad at and this is this guy and this is this guy, and you know, I don't know who you fucking are. I don't care. And then you talk to a guy.
Yeah.
And wow.
Apparently, he worked on Dread.
Oh, okay.
So that was a good movie.
Yeah, you talk to someone, you go, oh, wow, you're really interesting. And it's too late because you already were introduced. I don't know who you fucking are.
Too bad you're interesting.
Yeah, it's like I totally blank on the first 5 minutes of conversation. It's like a baby in the first 5 years of their life. They only vaguely remember. Same thing. Now that I know you're interesting, it's too late. I don't know who the fuck you are. And I go, who the hell is that guy? So I can remember it. All right. So anyway, Ghost of Tsushima is like easily one of my most anticipated game
basically
next year.
that outside of Cyberpunk 2077,
right,
those are like two of my absolute dream games.
Yep.
So yeah, that's one to definitely look forward to, and help to slightly fill that void until Cyberpunk comes out in another 2 years.
So do you remember, I think it was late last year, we saw a trailer. I think it was either late last year or during E3. I don't remember which, but we saw a trailer of something from Square Enix. I said it looked like Front Mission. It was called Left Alive.
Yes, yeah, because we were both looking for some mechy goodness.
Right.
And, that one came up.
And it looked like, I said it looked like Front Mission. Turns out the reason it looked like Front Mission, because it's in the Front Mission universe.
Oh, it's just a new title for the same stuff.
But kind of. It's in the Front Mission universe, but it is actually going to be like a Metal Gear Solid kind of game.
Oh, you got me now.
Right?
What do we got?
So it's called Left Alive. There was a lot of new details at Gamescom. So it is a survival action shooter. It has stealth gameplay. It has action gameplay. Basically, you are on the ground fighting soldiers and these Wanzers on foot.
Holy shit.
But there's also crafting and whatnot. You can combine items, create traps, weapons, and more. The idea of the game is that you are stuck in this city that's been attacked by these Wanzers.
Okay.
And you don't have much to start with. So you might have a gun, but you don't have any ammunition. So you have to rely on crafting, kind of like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
So crafting is more important than scavenging and crafting, basically. But you start off shitty and you get stuff as you go. Eventually, you can actually either hijack a Wanzer or some missions actually just start you in one.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't be surprised because, I mean, eventually you go
Right.
along, it's about like, you probably find this place that has like, an ammunition machine where
Right.
you just like throw scrap in it and it makes bullets. And...
Well, it probably won't be like that because apparently you have access to guns, but ammunition is very scarce, they say.
Oh, okay, so it still very much
yeah.
teeters on the survival kind of aspect of it.
So the game is structured in different stages with different objectives. Some of them are entirely based on piloting. You have 3 different characters. Each one has a different storyline and basically different people he encounters over the course of the game.
I like think of his Grand Theft Auto 5 now. You're like in different parts of the city, and one guy's like an alcoholic weirdo.
Take the high ground. Good thinking, Trevor.
Yep.
So let me read this. The people attached to this. Mm-hmm. It's actually a really impressive core a team that's making this. So
which developer's making it then?
Squaresoft. Square Enix.
Okay.
So Toshifumi Nabeshima is the director of the Armored Core series. He's going to be the director of the game.
That's a solid start.
Yoji Shinkawa, character designer, is going to from Metal Gear.
Oh yeah,
right. All those painted.
Yeah,
him.
Okay,
that is him. And Takayuki Yanase is the mech designer who is known for doing Ghost in the Shell Rise, Mobile Suit Gundam 00, and Xenoblade Chronicles XX. Or Single X.
Wow, that sounds like a fucking dream team,
right? And I mean, they're already tapping into all the front mission style stuff they already had.
I already dug like all their designs,
right?
So they're just gonna clean those up a little, modernize them a bit, and yeah.
So while the main objective of the game is to escape alive from this war-torn city, you apparently can help other civilians who couldn't escape in time. So it's kind of like a Dead Rising style thing.
Okay, yeah.
So it's optional; you don't have to do it. But whether
as long as they don't saunter around behind you, getting hit by things, or what's going on?
God, that was terrible. It was better in the later games, but Jesus Christ, was that bad. But whether you do it, if you don't do it, it affects the story. So you have your choices, but anyway. At the end of the game, you don't. Not only will you find out what happens to your character, like it'll resolve the 3 main characters. Yeah. But all the individual citizens that you encounter, you'll get a little sort of Suikoden style write up on them as well, and how it impacts the storyline. The producer, Shinichi Hashimoto, he says, we thought it was a way to show the newness of the franchise. This is talking about why it's not just called Front Mission.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Show the newness of the franchise. It would help to have a different name to show it's a new direction. It's very much still Front Mission. You know that some know and love Front Mission, and all the lore is very much from the Front Mission universe. The names, the Wanzers, the locations, the historical events in the series are all there. People who know Front Mission will get straight away that this is a Front Mission game. But the name Front Mission is very closely tied to the idea of the traditional real-time strategy style of gameplay. So to give that impression on a different genre of game, we changed the name. So, but kind of this is all great. Like the fact that it's tied to Front Mission that's kind of a neat thing. I saw the gameplay; it looks like Metal Gear, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's really cool. Yeah. Then they asked him, "Would you ever do another traditional Front Mission?" And he says, "Oh, we'd love to." You know,
I mean, guaranteed. If this game's a hit, they'll just launch Front Mission again.
Well, I mean, if this game is a hit, it's kind of the same story as like Metal Gear Rising, like Metal Gear Survive,
yeah.
Right? If that game was popular, they'd just do those. Obviously, it wasn't. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be, but
there was a whole other cloud of shit around that game.
Microtransaction heavy.
Well, not just that, but the whole Kojima leaving.
Yes,
not working on Metal Gear anymore, and
raping the corpse of Indiana Jones.
This whole other situation, basically.
Yeah. So anyway, he says there's lots of different ways you can do a tactical RPG. We could even try to do a combination between that merges action and tactical, which I don't know how they do, but I absolutely would like to know.
It'd be like, what's the game we always talk about, where it's like a first-person Battlefield kind of thing, but real-time strategy at the same time.
Like Battlezone.
Battlezone, yeah. Or
Could
like
be.
the one that I always played, the Command and Conquer one, where it's like you would have the RTS aspect, but you have a little dude where you can run around and get into Wanzers and stuff like that too.
CNC Renegade. Yeah. I mean, that was interesting. I mean, Battlezone was better.
Yeah. As we've, as we talked about. But yeah, I could totally see them doing something like that too. I would love to have both aspects of that.
Just the fact that Front Mission is back in any way, shape, or form. I even bought, like, Evolved. It was an Armored Core Light, but it wasn't terrible. Anyway. Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
We got a bit of a fact roundup. Some extra stuff came out, still trickling out after Gamescom.
This is the final bits of information we get until they lock that door again for another 2 years.
Yep. So, CD Projekt Red has confirmed that 2077 was built for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. So it was optimized from the very beginning for consoles.
I figured as much.
So I mean, we are probably going to see, I'm guessing it's going to be next year, and then they might do a remaster for PS5 / next to Xbox, but I'm guessing next year. The demo was running on a PC. Obviously, it had an i7 in it with a 1080 Ti video card.
Okay,
so it's not like a.
It wasn't the new 2080 one that was like crushing everything, so that's cool.
I mean, maybe they just didn't have the SDKs for that yet, but still, the fact that it was running on a system that is like within price range.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
was really impressive.
Yeah.
So, according to the producer, it's currently playable start to finish. There is going to be a photo mode.
Yeah. That's I heard about that the other day, and I'm super excited for that because, again, that density of the population in the city and stuff, that offers so much for photo mode.
Yeah, especially if you're customizing your character and you're in all these beautiful scenarios and situations. So, apparently, some people don't like the fact that it's a first-person. I don't know if you've heard that, but some people are complaining.
To be fair, that was one of the things on my mind because, again, we've talked about this. I like third person just because I like to see my character physically doing what he's doing on screen and stuff like that.
Whatever.
But
Deus Ex.
I also, and that's the whole thing. I played through Deus Ex. It was great, and that was a first person. So I'm not in that camp where it's just like, it should be third person. And just like, I'll take that either way kind of thing.
So people are bitching, and some people are legitimately saying, I can't handle first person games because they get motion sick or whatnot. But,
which is, again, is real for some people too.
Right. Or some people just can't handle a more action-oriented game. So they hear that. They hear that feedback and they understand.
Okay.
And while they're looking into offering like difficulty settings to make a game easier for people to play, make it more accessible, they are absolutely not going to change it. So,
well, that would require retooling of some of the core mechanics of it and stuff. So I could totally see them not
understand
doing that.
They're not going to change it. They want the game to be as enjoyable for as many people as possible, but they're not going to change it. They did confirm. We talked about it. Like they said, you can possibly have multiple apartments, like just the way it was phrased, or your current apartment. He said, So they confirmed that yes.
I mean, you're not going to live in a slum through the whole game. You're going to get that sweet top of the building penthouse with all the laser lights on it and everything.
I mean, still, that arcology one, it was very Blade Runner. It was very like you're in your fucking wedge.
Oh yeah.
So, like The Witcher 3, progress in side quests is going to have an impact on how your story plays out. Not doing side quests or messing up while attempting them will change how the main story progresses considerably. And this is an important point. There are quests, depending on your choices, they have quests that have fail states.
Yeah.
You will still advance the story, but you failed.
And that's it. There's no second chance.
So, you can save scum, but, it's never going to be like a hard fail that, you are really screwed. But it's interesting that they're building the failure into the story so that, depending on how or who you piss off, that's just going to make your game more interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's like classic Shadowrun stuff. Like you piss off a guy, you fuck up his job, suddenly you've got a whole other kettle of fish problems.
Yeah, you fuck up a corpse job.
Right.
Oh man, they're going to be down your throat about it.
So senior quest designer Philip Weber, he says, what we don't have, however, is a game over state. The only game over you have is when you die. So when you fail a quest, it's now part of the story. You have to deal with the consequences. I love that. I love that. Associate Design Director Kyle Rowley, he talked a bit about modifying guns. So apparently a large percentage of the weapons you can fit modules that can change the way they handle. The modules are grouped into tech, smart, or power modules. So I can acquire a tech pistol, but I can replace the module so it could become a power or smart pistol. Gameplay mechanic can change based on what modules you pick, and modules will also have rarities attached to them as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So just because something is in a particular classification, there's variations and qualities of those as well.
Oh, and Radiophage, please just type yes or no if you watched the 48-minute gameplay trailer of Cyberpunk 2077.
If you haven't, go do that now.
If you haven't, I will not blame you if you leave right now to watch it, because holy fuck.
That day I watched it for 3 hours. Yep. So, and in the game, you saw the corporate smart rifle. Apparently, the high-end corp weapons, they have less modability, but that's because they're
so OP that they don't really need it.
Yeah, they're bleeding edge right out of the gate. So these are like job-specific. Well, because
there was that auto rifle she was using. And she was just shooting into the air, and the bullets were all, curving around cover and everything like that.
And they talked about that a little as well. Apparently, that when you have smart guns, instead of it using your skills to determine how good your aim is, it goes by the tech itself. So it's kind of like in Shadowrun, you had skill software. So it just replaces your skill with the value of the gun as to how accurately that smart bullet actually hits the target. So that's interesting. There is going to be hand-to-hand combat. Obviously, you have the blade weapons that they showed in the thing.
Oh, yes, the mantis blades.
Right. But there's going to be other hand-to-hand weapons like a katana.
I would hope so, because I want that, it's not in the realm of Cyberpunk, but a street samurai, basically.
Yes, they did
Pistol and a sword, I want that.
They did mention specifically you can be like a tech ninja, like Motoko Kusanagi.
Yeah.
So,
there you go. Radiophage is building some Warhammer models tonight, so he's going to watch the trailer while building Warhammer. So
excellent.
You will shit your pants multiple times out of excitement. It is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
I'm so sad that it doesn't have a multiplayer aspect to it, because I would love to play that as a campaign. But still, I'm okay. Anyway, but with the katana and other melee weapons, they say that they have a dismembering mechanic.
Oh, okay.
Which the description of the dismemberment mechanic is visceral and brutal.
Okay, good. That's what
right
dismemberment should be.
There's apparently a skill you can use your katana to deflect bullets, which is good. NPCs in the game, they will react to your clothes, gear, cyberware, and tattoos, and their behavior might change based on that.
Yeah, because again, it's that whole aspect of if you walk in a nice suit and sunglasses and you look all clean and corp like, then you're set. But if you walk in with, a sleeveless trench coat full of tattoos and you're all tech to the nines, then it's like, oh, this guy's scum. Let's be wary of what we're doing with him.
Where your face says, God damn it, I can't shit in my pants. I'm still working with plastic glue all night. Don't do this to me,
Hey,
Dandr0id.
I'm just warning you ahead of time because it is just that fucking good.
I mean, I don't know which would be more offensive to the senses, shit in your pants or plastic glue. I mean,
maybe go hand in hand. I don't know.
That's true.
All I know is that it's worth watching multiple times because holy shit, it is so good.
So flying cars are in the game, but you can't control them.
Really? It's like they're right out then.
Yes.
Like they're not a thing that you can acquire.
No, I mean you might be able to get them, but you aren't you're not flying them like you're driving the car.
Yeah, and I guess to be fair, that makes sense because they
Yes.
didn't want to have you fly around the entire city. And
Well, yeah, there's technical issues with it, but they say apparently there are reservations related to the destructibility of the environment, so they don't want you to crash into a building and shit, I guess.
Yep, no, that makes sense.
So there's no firm details on the size of Night City, but when Quest designer Patrick Mills was talking about it on Twitter, he says, let me put it this way. When I drive around in Night City, it feels absolutely like a real city. It doesn't feel like a city in miniature, which, like, if you play like a game like a Sleeping Dog, sometimes the city feels a little bit smaller than it should. It
can definitely, like, it feels like it's a big city because of the wide roads, the big buildings and stuff like that, but you cruise down a road for 30 seconds and all of a sudden you're just at this hard corner where it's like, oh, that's the end of the map right there, and that's it.
And I mean, you can go around, like in Grand Theft Auto 4, it's like, okay, it's big, but it's really not that big.
It just has these like clear-cut sections of like, this is the downtown area, this is the residential area, and you cruise through that in like, a minute and you're done that area.
I didn't really get a sense of it from the trailer, but it did seem like a large spanning
Well, and unlike a
city.
Grand Theft Auto or Sleeping Dogs, like, Night City looks like it's actually entertaining to walk around in.
Right, just to look.
Yeah, whereas Grand Theft Auto, typically, people are just wandering around like idiots, and you're just like, oh, I want a car now, and I want to go. Like,
got dirt boys to look at.
Yeah.
They've confirmed that they don't have a companion system where you can like just recruit an NPC and he just follows you or whatnot.
Yeah.
But they say it's like in The Witcher, where if the story calls for it, some of the missions you'll have
have backup or something
so
like that.
Like in the trailer, you had what's his name, Jackie, I think was the guy's name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, in some quests you'll be by yourself, in some quests you might have a guy, but it's like based on the quest. It's not just like,
well, because they said the whole concept behind that too is like, making those new contacts, and then maybe if you're pinned down, you have a phone number to call, like someone in for backup for that one situation or something like that.
I mean, I guess we'll see, but I mean, if it plays out like it does in The Witcher, that's not terrible. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Necro, from the trailer, it feels very large, like horizontally, but I think after what that guy's saying, I think it's going to be a big city all around anyways.
Yeah, it definitely feels like you feel like you're in the concrete canyons, like you should, like a Blade Runner, like a Neuromancer, that kind of game.
Yeah.
It feels like a cyberpunk environment. But yeah, you drove for a fair amount of time, so who's to say?
And the crazy part too is when we first saw the trailer at E3, people were like, "Oh, it's Cyberpunk and it's called Night City. Where's the night?" Well, they showed it off in the 48-minute gameplay trailer, and I love that even though it's nighttime, it barely feels like nighttime because everything is lit up with like neon and fucking lights everywhere. So it's like, well, it's nighttime, but it certainly ain't dark outside. It looks like a proper cyberpunk city.
Looks like something you'd see in any William Gibson novel, basically. So yeah. All right, so let's go into some quick hits. We're actually shockingly running long today. I don't know why.
Well, because we're talking about Cyberpunk.
I guess that's true. That never helps. The good news is that bad news is that the big ticket probably isn't that big.
Okay, that's fair.
Quick hits. According to leaked images, Spider-Man apparently has 35 individual unlockable suits.
Oh, okay.
35.
Now, is that before those 3 extra chapters?
Yeah, that's just in the base game.
That's really cool. I love that because that's a harken back to a lot of the previous Spider-Man games.
The original Activision Treyarch ones.
That was half the fun of that game was just unlocking all the different all the different costumes. It was just Activision.
Yeah, it was just Activision, but it was like I'm thinking Tommy Tallarico because he did all the music.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where I got Treyarch from. Actually,
Tommy Treyarch.
No, Tommy Treyarch. Now I'm second guessing that. I have to go look at that. Doesn't matter. Anyway, just announced actually on the PlayStation blog, you remember The Forest, that creepy ass survival game?
Yes, yeah.
That's finally coming to PS4. That was something that they had announced way back, I think, when the PS4 launches. That's coming out November 6th. It's going to have 4-player co-op and an improved crafting system.
And it looks great, and I'll never play it because that is so not my game.
No, I played a little bit of that, and it was definitely atmospheric.
Oh, yes. I've seen some Let's Plays of it, and it looks creepy as fuck.
You would not enjoy it. Onimusha Warlords. Do you remember that for PS2?
Oh, yes. It's getting a remaster.
It is. For PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. It's going to have up-res textures. It's not going to be like a full ground-up remake.
I really like that, though, because I was back when I was playing a lot of the Resident Evil games and stuff like that, and that one was just Japanese samurai Resident Evil, basically.
Right, basically, yeah. So it's going to have widescreen analog stick support. It's going to have an easy mode added, and it's going to have a brand new soundtrack because apparently, rumor has it, here's the thing, the original game, the composer apparently had someone else do the composing for him.
Oh, really?
So it was all ghost written. That's a fun little piece of trivia on Onimusha. So anyway, it's going to be $20. Releases January the 15th. It's going to look like, it's like a PS2 to PS4.
Right.
Yeah. Except a little bit better. Switch owners.
Mm-hmm.
Another great one for Switch coming. The original Valkyria Chronicles is coming to Switch.
That's a must.
That's an amazing game. I'm really glad that they remastered that for PS4 because it did not get the attention it deserved on PS3. That's coming to Switch October the 16th for only $20. And I'm hoping that this will succeed and they'll do like 2 and 3, the other portable ones.
That's the crazy part about Switch right now is that it almost feels like rather than having all these like big AAA blockbuster titles coming out for it,
Vita?
It is this, it's like a better Vita. It's this amazing mobile unit that carries like what would be my Steam account, basically. Right. It's like all these beautiful indie games or remasters of games from a previous generation, and it's just this great collection all in one place, and you can take it with you.
Yes, it's almost like a console that virtually handles it. No. Anyway, speaking of which, I did not know that Eminem was a nerd.
Yes.
He's a big nerd.
Yeah.
So apparently on his latest album, Kamikaze, there's a song called Good Guy, which features samples from the title theme of Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
I have no joke for this. That's just
cool. No, that's the whole thing is I love when I find out that famous people that I adore, they're nerds, like one way or another. Like the fact that Vin Diesel plays D&D. I love that.
Yeah, with fucking, what's it, DiTrulio, John DiTrulio.
Yep.
Crazy big nerd. Love that guy. Also, Todd Stashwick, huge nerd, great guy. Todd Stashwick is awesome. Go watch 12 Monkeys. Anyway, so last week, this is a weird one.
Okay.
Last week, 3 years after releasing Mad Max, Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. No, Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Avalanche made the game, Avalanche Studios. They released a patch for Mad Max.
Okay.
After 3 years.
What does it do?
The last patch was in October of 2015. It fixes bugs. It's 13 gigs.
Just random bugs. I mean, of which there were a lot in that game, unfortunately.
I had to restart the game because of that whole transfer tank issue.
Yeah.
Nearly fucking killed my interest in the game. But literally, October 26th was the 1.04 patch. 1.05 came out like last week.
Yeah.
3 years.
That's so weird.
It's very weird.
Do they keep that like one guy in the back room by himself on a little computer? And
I don't know.
Just clicking away there, just like, let's fix this and this, and I'm finally done, guys.
Yeah. But I mean, because Mad Max came out day and date with Metal Gear 5, like it didn't sell well back in the day. It was a good game. I enjoyed it.
It was very good.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that it's patched after 3 years randomly?
Yeah, that does seem kind of odd.
Seems very odd. So who knows? Maybe they're going to release it in a greatest hits version because they're going to do Mad Max 2. I doubt that, but I would buy the shit out of it, but I doubt it. So that it's just kind of a weird thing to mention.
That is very strange.
SNK, another mystery. SNK is announcing a new game September 10th.
Okay. So
I think that's next Monday.
Yes.
Yes,
next Tuesday, something like that. Yeah.
So there's no details on their website, but they're announcing something.
SNK is just like, hey, we're gonna tell you something next week.
Yeah. There's a countdown timer, and the tagline is "A New Dawn Rises." Does that mean anything to you, SNK wise?
Samurai Showdown.
Oh my God!
Land of the Rising Sun.
Oh my God! If that was a Samurai Showdown,
that would be my guess.
Oh my God!
Just off the top of my head, that's my guess.
And next gen Samurai Showdown,
because of how popular that series is, and they haven't made one in years,
forever.
Yeah, I could see them doing something like that. I would love to see it. That was one of my favorites. So there you go. That's my guess. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that.
I'm now suddenly way more excited about September the 10th than I was a minute ago.
There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah. I don't know. So hey, we're getting to our big ticket. And
all right, what do we got?
Potentially it's a shit ticket.
Oh, now we have James Marine's attention.
Now you have my attention, right?
I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong on that, but that's my theory on something like that.
You had my interest. Now you have my attention. So, it's getting to that time of year where people are talking about what's coming next for gaming systems, right? We've speculated this going back to the beginning of the podcast.
Well, because I mean, we had people already nipping at E3 to say, oh, maybe we'll see some PS5 shadows or something, or like, you know, that kind of thing.
Earliest you're going to see that is like mid next year, late next year.
I mean, to be fair, it is fun and very exciting, and we get to see that stuff, so people always get antsy about it.
Very excited. So anyway, apparently there has been some information leaked about Microsoft's next console. And it's leaked on this website, Dandr0id, which is a tech website. They actually have, in the past, leaked correct information.
Okay, so, about Xbox or just other things?
Microsoft stuff in general. I don't recall if it was specifically about Xbox.
Okay.
But, so potentially they have some cachet, you know, to give this some weight. But it's all rumor, all unconfirmed, whatever.
Yeah.
So, according to the site, the next generation Xbox is actually a family of devices.
Okay.
Possibly working in tandem, and it is codenamed Scarlett. The first device, it's like two major devices. The first device is going to be a traditional console product where you're going to have physical digital games like normal.
Yeah.
It's going to be all your stuff delivered the normal way. So you download it, you buy a disc, whatever.
You have a box sitting under your TV with a disc drive in it.
Yes. So the second device will be a lower powered device that's currently planned to ship with the first device, like the next gen console.
Okay.
And it's designed specifically for game streaming.
Okay.
So Microsoft, this is they're going to call this service the Scarlett Cloud, which is a terrible fucking. Obviously, it's a code name. But
yeah.
I'm sure that the final version
sounds like a bad disease going around or something.
Scarlet Cloud. Sounds like someone with blood farts or something. So anyway, but yeah, I this is just the code name, but I'm sure that the final name will be just as stupid, just by law of what we've seen. So the Microsoft, they claim that they have figured out latency issues. Like we've seen
for like streaming latency, yeah.
So on live, it was like NVIDIA Shield. We've tried Steam Play and PS Now. Mm-hmm. Like all have famously not quite hit the mark.
Necrosis, the actual name will be worse.
I'm sure it will be worse.
It'll, it rarely takes note after like the code name, but they just call it like the Xbox Red or something like that.
I mean, that's not a terrible name. Like anyway, that's better than Xbox One.
Yeah, I like it better than one.
Right. I would just go with Xbox Next and be done with it. Right. Like it has that connotation. Doesn't matter.
No, the next box.
Next box. Just as stupid. Easier to say. So the cloud console will apparently have a limited amount of local computation ability for specific tasks like controller input, image processing, and collision detection.
Right.
Everything else will stream off the network. So the downside is that you need more hardware locally. It will raise the price of the streaming box, but it'll still cost significantly less than like a next generation platform.
Right, yeah.
So this Scarlet Cloud... it's apparently going to run externally via the streaming service like PlayStation Now does. It's going to have part of the game running locally on the box, and then it's going to it's called apparently a slice or a splice. So it's running in two locations, and the cloud will stitch it all together for processing stuff.
Sounds intense.
It does, but I mean, theoretically, if you're having multiplayer games, you're already running half of it on the server anyway. It maybe offloads some of that. I mean,
sounds closer to what they wanted to achieve with the Xbox One when it first came out.
Right, with the original cloud-based infrastructure that they had put together, like they were going to say that the Xbox One would be 4 times more powerful than a PS4. That didn't happen.
Because the system isn't as powerful. It was handling
it was with the cloud,
somewhere
right?
else.
And we still haven't even seen...
Which never came to be.
Where's Crackdown 3, for fuck's sakes? Still...
The Scarlet Cloud was my favorite 1930s radio drama.
Tune in next week for the Scarlet Cloud. If you can smell him, you're already too late. What's that smell? It's a scarlet cloud! Run! Flee, evildoer! No one could stand before the scarlet cloud. Horrible. Anyway, so what's interesting is that apparently all games can be run either locally on the main device or on the cloud-enabled device.
Well, I mean, everyone that's read this sees where this is going. They're making a Microsoft Switch, basically.
Well, I mean,
way more powerful.
I don't know necessarily. I think that it'll probably be like 2 devices in general. Like eventually they'll market the weaker device independently, but they are bootstrapping it to the main console like the Kinect was, right? You have to buy them both initially, and then eventually you'll be able to buy them separately once they have their install base and you get proof of concept.
Yeah.
I don't think, if this is true, I think this is a terrible idea to do that. I am still not, even on the streaming side, we don't have the infrastructure in North America. We just do not. No matter how they slice it up, no matter how they integrate their Azure cloud system into it, we're not there yet.
Well, I mean, again, we do make breakthroughs in technology and stuff like that. So if they can prove that they've broken this magical wall of streaming latency and everything like that, I'm interested to see if that actually happens. But you're right. It ultimately, what holds it back right now in streaming anyways is our infrastructure in Canada, the US, like all that kind of stuff. We just don't have the infrastructure that Asia and Europe has right now.
Unless you had a quantum leap in like compression and decompression technology that they could do that.
That's the thing, is they may have cracked that, but who knows? I mean, we'll have to wait to see, because obviously this is rumored. This is on a random tech site somewhere, and we're at least a few years, if not 5 years away from something like that. Because they literally just brought out the Xbox One X whatever recently. X. So X, the newer one. So they're not going to go in 2 years and be like, oh hey, here's this new one now.
No, I mean, I think they established that they need a more traditional approach, and we're not ready for a cloud unless they actually have made some kind of secret advancement. But I would think that we would see it deployed in other competencies than on the Xbox first.
It might be one of those things that they have it, but they're keeping it under super wraps just to make sure that no one else gets their hands on it.
You look how much money Microsoft makes on their Azure technology. Like, it would be known there first, not the Xbox division, like the bastard love child division. Like they put it where they're making billions.
If it's early days of this too, that might be one of those things that in 6 months all of a sudden you see this cloud technology leak over to their actual marketable products at this point.
I'm rating that one at about a 5% likelihood. I don't think there's much truth in that at all.
I don't know. I'm, it's, again, grain of salt, but I'd like to be positive about it. If they've broken this, hey, bring it on. I want to see it. I want streaming games. Bring it on. I want that ability. I want every console to have that. Give it to PC. Just let streaming games be a thing, and then we're good. Because then you can have those consoles that they don't have to be super powerful in-house. They can have that cloud computing, and you can just fucking go nuts with them.
Will Dandr0id be able to play the game that he is downloading in under 5 hours? Tune in next week for the Scarlet Cloud.
I thought you had a sound effect for that.
Apparently we're having issues. I think XSplit borked us a little bit.
Well, our wallpaper's still working, so good for that.
I gotta go check to see what's eating XSplit's anus. Anyway. So you know what time it is.
Yeah.
It's like 2 minutes to the end of the game. So we're going to do this quick.
I'm going to tell you something I haven't played, and then, and then...
Oh, I thought we were doing near misses. Okay, what? Okay, so anyway, it is that time. It's time to press select in the options menu. This week, in our rotating cavalcade of gaming topics, the options menu is going to visit... Are we going to do Everyone's Played This Game With Me?
Yeah, because that's the one I was queued up with. Unless you don't have one, then we're fucked either way.
I'm going to walk over here. You go ahead.
You have a list or what?
It's called my Steam library.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's played this game but me, Dandr0id. What do you got for us?
Okay, so the gist of that one is pretty much in the title. So it's super popular games that I just never got around to playing. And basically, I've only played a few hours of one of this series. We've actually talked about the series a couple times tonight, and that's Dragon Quest. So, yeah, exactly. So there we go. I don't know if you can hear Jack in the background freaking out. But, yeah, so basically way, way back when Dragon Quest, a.k.a. Dragon Warrior in North America, first came out, when Nintendo had, like, you know, you had your very few choices of games to play, I ended up playing a few hours of Dragon Warrior, and I hated RPGs at that point, and that was one of the reasons why, because that game was, like, ball-crushingly hard. So I kind of gave up. I didn't like the style of gameplay. I didn't like turn-based. I didn't like anything about it. So basically, it wasn't until years and years later that I found out that Dragon Warrior was the Dragon Quest series. It was just named differently in the early days of it. I think it was up until like 3 or 4 or something. They called them Dragon Warrior, and then it became Dragon Quest after that. But ultimately, I've always been interested in them, and I love Toriyama's art, like the Dragon Ball Z style art that he's attached to some of the newer Dragon Quest games. And they seem like great games. I just never got around to playing them because ultimately they were full-blown JRPGs.
Right.
And pretty much I just didn't have time to sink 80 hours into a game to thoroughly enjoy it.
They weren't that bad. They're not as bad as like Final Fantasy, but they're meaty. They're JRPGs, right?
Yeah.
So you know what you're getting into.
But I love the art. I love some of the stories. I know a lot of the characters and stuff just from reading stuff online and that, but I've never physically played. There.
I also fixed
Tune in next week
for the Scarlet Cloud.
Yeah, so Dragon Quest is a series that I do want to play. I love the design. I love some of the story of it and everything, especially Dragon Quest Builders when we talked about that.
Builders was amazing.
I never got around to playing that. So outside of a few hours of Dragon Warrior 1, I have never played a Dragon Quest game.
James Marine is saying he much preferred the later Dragon Quest Z, to be honest.
And I'm surprised they didn't go with something like that. They could have had Super Saiyans in Dragon Quest. But no, I love Akira Toriyama's art style. And
it is distinctive.
And I thought it brought that kind of flavor to that game. It was one of the reasons why I was like, oh, hey, that's the guy that does Dragon Ball. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I want to play a game based on that. But
literally,
obviously not based on that, but the art style.
I've been playing Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior back in the day for so long that I was familiar with that when I first saw Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, oh, shit, that's the Dragon Quest
so it was kind of almost backwards for you.
Because I had no idea, right? Dragon Quest goes back, like, Dragon Warrior was 19...
Well, it was Nintendo, so it was like 89 or 88 or something like that. Like early Nintendo.
Oh, I think it's like earlier than that. I think it's 85 or 86 or something. It's like an early.
Yeah.
It came free with your Nintendo Power subscription back in the day.
Oh, really?
The original Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior back in the day. Yeah, man.
That's probably why so many people had it then.
You only really get the payoff for the series arc in Dragon Quest Super, though.
There you go, Radiophage. Enjoy that. Okay, so that's my hidden shame there out for the world. So yeah,
that's
I have
surprising.
not played pretty much any of them, and I still want to.
You've played a bunch of the Final Fantasies, though, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, that's weird. Like, it would be different if you didn't like RPGs.
As far as Final Fantasy goes, I've played some of the first one. I've played most of the second one because again, my buddy had it. I never actually finished that one, and then I completely blanked on 3. I played a lot of 4. I finished 5, 6, 7, 8. I hated 9. Finished 10. Didn't play 11 because it was online. And I did. Was not. I know 9 is one of those splinter ones. It's like either you really love it or you really hate it. Like there's no real in between on it. Because again, that was when I was getting in heavy to like Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and I loved the designs and the characters and kind of like that pseudo kind of like sci-fi fantasy future stuff they had. And then 9 just drove right back into like Chibi Town with all like the cutesy fantasy warrior stuff and everything. I was just like, nope, not for me. And Janus Marine says, anyone like Dragon Quest Abridged? I didn't even know that was a thing. Is that like...
No, he's making the Dragon Balls joke.
Well, because he was saying it's funny because it pokes fun at tropes of the series.
Nope.
But anyways, so what's your hidden shame there of something you've never played that everyone else has? Or do you have anything?
I really don't know if I have one this week. I was kind of hoping for the hidden what are we doing? Near misses.
I don't know. We could just chastise you for never playing Super Mario 64
I mean,
again.
that deserves stating the fact, because that is just a bizarre hole in my repertoire.
Oh, wasn't there something like Half-Life or something like that you've never played?
No. I've played through all the way through Half-Life. I have never finished Half-Life 2.
There we go. We can talk about that one.
Well, there's I've gotten so much shit for that. Like, for example, Travis,
that asshole that never shows up to the
keeps
stream.
breaking my balls because I never finished Half-Life 2, and it's like, what's the rush? I mean, as soon as they announce that Half-Life 3 is coming, I will put it on my fucking radar
now,
that I can go through.
To be fair, though, you want to finish a game because you want to finish the game. It has nothing to do with like, oh, well, they have to bring out a sequel for me to finish this game. You finish plenty of games that don't have sequels.
You know what? Half-Life 2, not that good.
Oh, there you go.
Fight me.
There's your shame right there.
I mean, it was okay. Granted, at the time, visually excellent. The storyline didn't grip me.
No?
I mean, City 17, the whole bit, it's kind of neat.
I loved it. The G-Man,
Orwellian.
the Combine, like everything, like, oh, it was so creepy and weird and different. I loved it.
It was, but I mean, you're looking at other story-based games in the era, and Half-Life.
Yeah, and see, James Reed, I don't blame you on that because I wasn't a fan of the episodes as much. I just really loved Half-Life 2.
Yeah. No, when they announced Half-Life 3 is coming, free beer for all Toronto Maple Leafs playoff game. It's like, when they announce Half-Life 3 is coming, it's like, it'll be too late anyway because it's the seventh sign of the fucking apocalypse.
And Jay Tanuki, to be fair, we know Jack has never played a Pokemon game, so that's just not his...
I have played Pokemon Snap.
That I mean a proper Pokemon game.
I wouldn't mind actually playing a Pokemon game.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is outside of the kind of the cutesy nature of being Pokemon, it's a JRPG ultimately.
And I mean I played Monster Rancher back in the PS1.
Oh, yes.
Basically discount Pokemon.
Disc-based Pokemon.
Disc-based, like that was the thing. Like
that was so cool. I love that game.
Yeah, it was a great concept. You couldn't even just get random, like you couldn't just walk around and get stuff. You had to like go looking for people's CDs.
Oh, you were salvaging every CD in your house, like just tearing stuff apart just to get a CD or a DVD or whatever.
Bring your memory card over your friend's house so you can figure out what shit he's got in his disc collection and stuff. I mean, that's brilliant, but I tell you, my backlog is large enough without adding shit to it. I've got like Yakuza Kiwami 2, I've got Yakuza 6, and 5 is half finished.
And Dragon Quest comes out on Tuesday.
Everything goes on hold for Dragon Quest.
Spider-Man comes out on Friday.
I honestly, I'm kind of torn. I might play Spider-Man for a bit, but I'm probably gonna just power through Dragon Quest.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's apparently really good.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Like I said, when I was waiting in line, it looked great. Like I was just sitting there, I was like, oh, I wish I didn't have to wait in line for like an hour and a half to play it. Like I would have spent the time doing that.
It's apparently like in the high 80s on Metacritic. I think it's like 88 last time I looked. And like they said it was the best Dragon Quest game that they've seen in a long time. So,
sweet.
Yeah. All right, folks. That is our show for this week. If you like what we do here, please show your support by following us on Twitch or subscribing to us on Twitter. You can reach us at Twitter at @digital_fiasco. That's where we have all of our latest information and updates about our schedules. Follow us there. If you follow us and turn on your notifications on Twitch, you'll also get little indications when we're online.
Of course, all that good stuff.
Share us with your friends and fellow gamers. We appreciate you joining us today. We appreciate you, all of your patronage over the years. And man, it's we're almost into season 3.
Yeah, almost. We're so close.
So when you're back from cons, we're going to have to start making plans for the 12-hour
Well,
stream.
yeah, ultimately, I think we're shooting for early October for that kind of situation.
It's got to be early. Well, it's got to be early to mid-October, because once we get in that Red Dead period, you can fuck off.
You still have a job to do.
I'm not going to answer my phone. You're not going to see me. You're going to have Kelly and Albel knocking on the door. I'm going to be like in a bunker.
You're just going to be sitting there drooling on the couch, and the controller would be inserted into your arm.
I can hear the gunfire. That was a Wilhelm scream. You're playing Red Dead. So mid-October, we'll have to pick our date and
Yes.
tell everyone for the 12-hour stream.
12-hour stream, beautiful guests, taco roulette, and all that fun stuff. So,
Talk to-
and of course, the lovely Jay Tanuki will help co-host.
Oh, yes, Taco Roulette. I'm looking
And
forward
the
to that.
extra lovely No Beard.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure to lock him down as well. I'd love to
Oh, I
have
mean,
some-
he's already on board.
Is
Like,
he? Okay,
yeah,
great.
more than on board. It's just we have to tell him ahead of time.
Yeah, no, Jay Tanuki was a great stream service last time, and she assisted us with the Taco Roulette. It was horrifying.
Yes,
but,
it really was.
Man, it was tasty and horrifying.
Especially the next morning.
Yes, I have such conflicted feelings about tacos now, but man, that was hilarious and awesome.
Yep.
It beat the shit out of the bean one.
Oh, believe me, that'll be there too.
I would prefer to have spicy taco pan than like
disgusting earwax and
dead fish,
and stinky foot and
dead hobo getting hit by a fish truck. Bean.
And Janus Marine, you'll have to tune in because it'll be a 12-hour stream, and you'll get to see one of us or other lovely faces in pain because of the extremely spicy taco roulette.
We did also do the baby food, and I really underestimated how disgusting some of that was.
You wonder why kids just curl up their face at certain flavors, and because that's why, because they are just that fucking gross.
As long as we do the taco roulette, we would have to plan that carefully, because if we do the taco roulette and we get full first, then we do baby food, we'll just vomit.
It wasn't really full from the tacos. I mean, they're tiny tacos, so.
But we ate a lot.
We'll also be there for 12 hours.
That's true.
The taco stream was 6 hours, I believe. So we're
was
good.
it even that? I thought it was shorter
Maybe
than that
5.
even. It was still awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of tacos.
Good time. So yeah, either way, probably early to mid-October, we're looking at a 12-hour stream with all the goodness, and we'll, of course, have more details on that as we plan it.
Yep, either on later shows or on Twitter, you'll see something. We'll put it up on the website.
Yep.
The whole thing. All right, folks, that is us for tonight. Tune in tomorrow for Kelly and Albel. They'll be on Comic Sans at the regular time, 7 p.m. Central Time. They'll be talking about probably some nerdy shit. I don't even know. I don't know. Something about Star Trek.
That's why they do the show and we don't, because they know that stuff way better.
No, I'm sure that they'll have something to say about Spider-Man. Tomorrow I can talk about it.
You can talk about Saul Spider-Man?
Saul Spider-Man, yes. Saul Spider-Man is like a registered accountant.
Spider at law. All right.
All right, folks, that is us for tonight. I am Jack McBastard.
And I'm Dandr0id.
We're going to throw it over to someone here locally in Winnipeg who's streaming. Tune in tomorrow for Kelly and Albel on Comic Sans, 7 p.m. Central Time. Till then, have a good night.
See ya.